Chapter 6:26 The Star Original Essence. Chapter 6:26 The Star Original Essence. The earth flame was like a fire ribbon burning the water of the lake. It was strange that the water's surface Yang Tian Emperor couldn't pierce through seemed to be melted under the scorching heat of the earth flame. Gradually, a fire path was formed in the middle of the tender lake. Fiery dragon, fiery flame, and Silverhorned had their eyes brightened. They were excited. Yang Tian Emperor smiled, looking at him with compliments. "We can go now." As Shi Yan saw the seal of the lake was cracked, he nodded and then stormed over the fire path. Fiery Dragon's group followed close behind him. The place under the surface looked like a bright mirror. After a dazzlingly bright layer, they met a wet, sluggish area. While Shi Yan hadn't adapted to the light yet, he heard some rumbling noises. When he could see things clear again, Shi Yan found himself in a strange underwater world. He was floating in a deep blue area, and there was a glorious bright space above his head. The world in this lake was multiple times bigger than the lake itself. They didn't see any sea monsters or fishes in this underwater world, only some sparse seaweed and algae. So many stones radiated dazzlingly on the bottom of the lake. Energy fluctuations rippled densely. Top-grade essence crystals. At first glance, Shi Yan couldn't help but shout joyfully. He was overjoyed. Essence crystals were the foundation of the warriors. With essence crystals, warriors didn't need to depend on heaven and earth's spiritual chi to cultivate. The top-grade essence crystal was scarce. Each piece was the essential auxiliary material to refine secret treasures. Normally, the essence crystal was generated in the deep place of the essence crystal mineral lode, as it was the best quintessence. Top-grade essence crystals were everywhere on the bottom of the lake. Shi Yan made a sketchy count, and he found that there were no less than 10,000 pieces. 10,000 essence crystals. Even if the Yang family, which was a super strong force in the endless sea, sold all their cultivating materials, it wasn't worth the number of the essence crystals in this area. That's why Shi Yan didn't think much. He wanted to collect them immediately. Boom, boom, boom. Fierce energy impact came from not far from them. Even the water of the lake couldn't hide these terrifying noises. Shi Yan discolored. He woke up from the joy of the top-grade essence crystals, remembering the reason why he came down here. At this moment, Fiery Dragon, Fiery Flame, Silverhorned, Yang Tian Emperor, and Dishan arrived. They stood next to Shi Yan, looking at the essence crystals around the place, taking a deep breath. The earth flame turned into a small flame, sinking into the blood vein ring. So many top-grade essence crystals. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yang Tian Emperor couldn't restrain his joy. He laughed. It's fate. It's our fate. Someone got here before us. Fiery Dragon grunted a reminder. Boom, boom, boom. Furious explosions echoed again. Yang Tian Emperor and Fiery Dragon became frightened, turning around to look at the direction where the explosion arose. Shi Yan didn't dare to linger. He darted away like a lightning strike. The lake surged. Pieces of top-grade essence crystals were smashed into chips, releasing thick energy. Rays of light interweaved in front of them. They could see two silhouettes fighting furiously. One of them was obviously not human. His body was covered in a bloody mane. Each of his hair was like a steel needle, around 1 meter long. From a distance, he looked like a giant hedgehog. His breath was incomparably savage. Fighting him was a human, a slender man. His black hair were pinned up. He looked no more than 40 years old, handsome and generous. He was holding a gold square stone in his hand, which gave people the imposing manner of a great mountain. Although these two experts were fighting in the water didn't affect them. Each strike they launched could smash the entire mountain, generating an earth-shaking impact. While they were fighting, Light shot out, bursting off the top-grade essence crystals. This energy was more dangerous than the most savage fish in the water. It extended vastly to the furthest area of the lake. 3 rays of dark blue light shot out like the 3 sharpest arrows. The explosive force they were carrying was enough to crush the beast's flesh body. It's blood-maned. Fiery Dragon became ruthless. He grunted with a malicious look. This bastard has come here 1 step ahead of us. I wonder who he's fighting with. Chu Bai Qing. Yang Tian Emperor knitted his eyebrows, looking at Shi Yan. That man is Chu Bai Qing, the headmaster of the Chu family of the Heaven Temple. He has the first sky of True God Realm cultivation base, a dangerous warrior. When we arrived in the Perpetual Night Forest, this man wanted to kill the entire Dark Devil clan, the Winged clan, and he wanted to take that chance to kill the Yang family too. When Yang Tian Emperor was talking, he looked calm. However, the wicked thought in his eyes was hard to be concealed. Di Shan didn't talk, but his eyes showed his resentment as vast as a sea. Shi Yan's face became gloomy. He nodded. I understand. We have some revenge we need to take. Thank you. Di Shan bent his body, his face grateful. Chu Bai Qing had the first sky of True God Realm cultivation base, which was considered the leading competence in the whole 7 ancient factions. Shi Yan had only the second sky of Spirit Realm cultivation base, and he had no expert strong enough to resist Chu Bai Qing accompanying him. Although he knew the other's competence, he didn't hesitate to express that he would take justice for the winged race. His deed made Di Shan understand that he didn't choose the wrong master. Yeah. Shi Yan was stirred up, looking at a big stone in the lake bottom ahead of them. For figures appeared behind that big stone. Shi Yan knew 3 of them. They were Li Zhenrong, Yi Changfeng, Ning Duquan, along with a strange old woman whose wrinkles crawled like worms on her face. However, that old woman had the 3rd sky of Spirit Realm cultivation base. When Yi Changfeng saw Shi Yan, he couldn't help but scream. Li Zhengrong gawked with a surprised complexion. He pulled Yi Changfeng, dashing toward Shi Yan. Ning Duquan was talking with the old woman, so he didn't pay attention. When he found that Li Zhengrong and Yi Changfeng had moved abruptly, he looked up to see. His face changed immediately to be more gloomy and grim. A walnut-sized water drop was levitating above the place where Blood-Maned and Chu Bai Qing were fighting. That drop didn't merge with the water of the lake, but maintained its complete shape, sparkling in a miraculous white halo. It looked magnificent, like a star in the sea water. The fluid inside the drop was scarce, but it was murmuring, releasing a magical soul fluctuation. It seemed this drop had its own life. The brutal fight between Blood-Maned and Chu Bai Qing seemed to be because of this magical water drop. While they were battling with each other, they sometimes observed the drop discreetly, as if they were afraid it would disappear into thin air all of a sudden. Shi Yan! Shi Yan! Yi Changfeng called him while dashing towards this area. Li Zhengrong turned his head from time to time to check the situation of Ning Duquan and that old woman. He seemed to be afraid that these 2 would attack them. Watch out. We are encountering enemies. Shi Yan let out a light shout, talking to Fiery Dragon, Fiery Flame, and Silverhorned. Those humans over there have some grudges against me. I'm not sure what's going to happen. Even if we don't take action, the others won't let us go easily. Fiery Dragon glared at Ning Duquan and the old woman. He didn't bother with them. Just 2 Spirit Realm warriors. No need to worry. If they dare to come, I'll help you solve them. Shi Yan smiled, shaking his head. No need. We have enough power to counter them. However, if that True God Realm expert attacks us, I hope you will help us to resist him. That guy? Fiery Dragon shook his head, laughing evilly. No need for me to take action. Blood-Maned will teach him well. He has killed so many of his henchmen. Blood-Maned won't let him go that easy. Shi Yan nodded and calmed down his tense nerves. Li Zhengrong and Yi Changfeng rushed to Shi Yan. What's going on? Shi Yan asked without waiting for them to speak up. Why are you here? What have you found? What is in this area? He asked without keeping his manners. After throwing Li Zhengrong and Yi Changfeng a glance, his eyes gazed at Chu Baiqing. He advised, release your soul defense. We should be careful in case that man attacks us. After he had finished, both Yang Tian Emperor and Li Zhengrong changed their complexions, starting to prepare the defense immediately. Fiery Dragon, Dishan, Fiery Flame, and Silverhorn didn't move. No matter it was the Demon Clan or the Monster Clan, their soul defense was naturally much outstanding than the human clan. Perhaps Shi Yan and Yang Tian Emperor couldn't bear the soul attack of the true God Realm warriors, but it couldn't kill Fiery Dragon or Dishan instantly. Chu Baiqing invited us to accompany him. Li Zhengrong frowned after he had fished the soul defense. Changfeng has the purgatory true flame. They needed the heaven flame to break the seal here. That's why we're here. Why did they come here? Inquired Shi Yan. We didn't know, Li Zhengrong grimaced. But now we know. It's because of the soul-washing divine water. Soul-washing divine water? What is that? Shi Yan was stunned. He pointed at the water drop and asked, That water drop? Yes. Soul-washing divine water is similar to the life original fluid, which is one of the 3 kinds of divine water. It could wash a contaminated soul to make it crystal clear. This would help accelerate the understanding process of power Upanishads, and it would prevent the warrior from falling in bedevilment. Li Zhengrong explained and then shouted. Not only he has the soul-washing divine water, but also the star original essence. His bright eyes gazed at Shi Yan as he suddenly asked, I heard that you have the star martial spirit. Sure, Yan nodded in surprise. Yeah. The star original essence is the best essence part of a star in the sky. If you can absorb the star original essence into your star martial spirit, I think your martial spirit will have a breakthrough. Li Zhengrong said affirmatively. Yang Tian Emperor and Dishan were petrified. They were both surprised and happy at the same time. How can we take it? Kill Chu Baiqing first. Yi Changfeng suddenly intervened, his face malicious. He wanted to kill my teacher and me. If that beast hadn't come, we would have been killed. Chapter 6:27. If we want to do it, leave no room for maneuver. Chapter 6:27. If we want to do it, leave no room for maneuver. For people who wouldn't bother keeping rules and codes of ethics, destroying the bridge after crossing the river wasn't a mental barrier. It was just normal. Especially when the benefit was big enough, everything would become more reasonable. Soul-washing divine water and the star original essence were the rarest treasures in this world. Even the true God Realm warriors might not have a chance to see them, not to mention having them. When such a chance presented in front of them, Chu Baiqing and Ning Duquan, the warriors of the Heaven Temple, wouldn't have much hesitation before killing their pathfinders. Poor Li Zhengrong and Yi Changfeng. As the key to open the seal, the other 2 hadn't killed them yet, because they needed to deal with the blood-maned giant ape first. Shi Yan now understood why Li Zhengrong had to be cautious watching Ning Duquan and the old woman behind his back while he was dashing toward him. Turned out, he was afraid that Ning Duquan and the old woman would take risks and kill them first. Kill Chu Baiqing first. Yi Changfeng gritted his teeth. Resentment was as deep as the ocean showing on his face. Shi Yan could understand his feeling. However, he didn't answer immediately, just keeping silent. Shi Yan, will you help me or not? As Yi Changfeng saw him, not replying, his face grimaced, his eyes bright and sharp. Li Zhengrong didn't talk much while his face darkened. He had told Shi Yan the magical functions of the soul-washing divine water and the star original essence to trigger him to help him solve this problem. when they were still in the Dead Soul Mountain range. Li Jiangrong had treated Shi Yan not too badly. The old man thought that he had to get along well with Shi Yan. Added with the relationship between Shi Yan and Yi Changfeng, Li Jiangrong thought that Shi Yan would give them a hand. Even if not because of him, with the attractive weight of the star original essence, Shi Yan would never resist. However, Shi Yan kept silent, which made him feel anxious as he couldn't guess what Shi Yan was thinking. At the bottom of the lake, Ning Duquan and the old woman had their eyes glistered uncertainly. They seemed to be preparing themselves discreetly. I have a deep resentment with Ning Duquan. Shi Yan's complexion was faint as he was talking neither slow nor fast. Of course, I'm going to help you. I just need to think about which method to use to kill all of them. Once we take action, we will leave no room for anyone to escape. Or else, the aftermath wouldn't be something we can imagine. Chu Baiqing and Ning Duquan were the disciples of the Heaven Temple. Although he didn't know the old woman's identity, he assumed she was from the Heaven Temple too. If all the three of them were killed, it was easy to arrange. However, if one of them escaped, it would be hard to tell whether the Heaven Temple would get out of the secret domain and hunt them or not. They needed to consider this problem carefully. Sure, Yin wasn't alone anymore. The Yang family, the Shi family, the Chao family, and the Yin-Yang fairyland were dependent on him. So were the Dark Devil clan and the Winged clan. He couldn't just ignore everything and run away alone. Giving the Heaven Temple a reason to let many warriors get out of the secret domain and attack his side, Shi Yan had to ask himself whether he could resist such a force or not. If he stayed with the Dark Devil clan and the Winged clan and killed Chu Baiqing's group, Yun Hao of the Radiant God cult would have had no way to help him out. With their current force, they couldn't resist the Heaven Temple face to face. Shi Yan's right. Li Jiangrong sighed quietly, his face solemn. If we want to kill them, we can't make any mistake. If we want to do it, leave no room for maneuver. Does anybody else know that you guys are coming here? Shi Yan was a bit hesitant, asking immediately. No, Li Jiangrong shook his head. Chu Baiqing wanted to keep this place for himself. Of course, he wouldn't tell anybody else. I'm sure no one else knows about this. Good. Sure, Yan finally showed his bloody fangs. He talked to Fiery Dragon resolutely. You have to help me with this. At first, you just need to get rid of the competition with the blood-maned giant ape. You should join us and help us kill them. After we can kill all of them, we will discuss the other business, okay? If you bear any loss, I'll compensate. No problem. Fiery Dragon grinned, rubbing his hands. Although blood-maned and I don't get along well, those bastards killed my fellows. They had taken the bones and skinned them. Of course, I won't just stand and stare. The monster clan has rules. Even if we hate each other, facing this operation, we will unite as one. Then it's easy. Shi Yan smiled, as cold as a sharp blade. A streak of blood rose in his eyes. We will solve Ning Duquan and that old woman first. Fiery Dragon, you are in charge of that true God realm human expert. Don't let him escape shortly. Chu Baiqing has the true God realm cultivation base, so he should have his God soul now. I think when he sees the situation getting worse, he will use the God soul to run away. Li Jiangrong was cheered up, but then he remembered this feature. He'd better not to let his God soul leave the body, or else I'll show him how stupid he is to let his God soul escape in front of me. Shi Yan grinned evilly and fiendishly. Li Jiangrong's eyes brightened. He asked happily, you have it? Yes, Shi Yan nodded. Don't worry, everybody. If he let his God soul out, it's going to be the decision he will regret the most for the rest of his sorry life. Yi Changfeng was cheered up, smiling coldly. Yang Tian Emperor and Di Shan were eager to try. They started to accumulate their power quietly, preparing to attack at any minute. Previously, Chu Baiqing's group always wanted to kill the Yang family, the Dark Devil clan and the Winged clan. Members of the Heaven Temple took a big part in the 7 ancient factions hotshots who had sneaked out of the secret domain to slaughter the Dark Devil clan and the Winged clan. Fiery Dragon, you attack them first. As long as Chu Baiqing is restrained, we will attack the others. After we kill the other 2, we will support you immediately. You must hold Chu Baiqing down. Okay. Fiery Dragon didn't change his face, giving an order to Fiery Flame and Silverhorned. When I launch my attack, you guys shouldn't stay idle. Help them to kill these 2 humans. Fiery Flame and Silverhorned nodded heavily. They've killed our fellows savagely. We will take their blood to repay our fellows' blood. You can pretend to attack Bloodmaned first. Then, you seize the chance and attack Chu Baiqing. If you can deceive Bloodmaned, too, it's the best. Sure, Yen suddenly suggested a cunning tactic. Fiery Dragon was surprised. He glared at Sure Yen oddly. You humans are so cunning indeed. Then he roared, turning into a scorching shadow and lunging towards Bloodmaned and Chu Baiqing. Although Bloodmaned and Chu Baiqing were fighting with each other, they quietly retreated a part of their power to take precaution. They were waiting for the flaming dragon. Bloodmaned and Chu Baiqing had recognized Fiery Dragon before. While they were battling, they had observed Fiery Dragon discreetly, but they didn't expect Fiery Dragon to jump into their battle. These 2 were both frightened. Bloodmaned and Fiery Dragon were rivals, so he was afraid that Fiery Dragon would attack him. Chu Baiqing was more anxious. Fiery Dragon was a member of the Monster Clan, so of course he would support his monster fellow. As Fiery Dragon hadn't made any moves, he had relaxed a little bit. However, he still kept an eye on the situation. Bloodman's and Chu Baiqing's powers were almost the same. No matter what side Fiery Dragon chose to join, the other side would fall into a bad situation, which would overturn the entire balance. They were all afraid of his involvement, so they had to save part of their power just in case. Roar! Bloodmaned released a terrifying roar. Gold light shot out from his eyes as he thundered indignantly. Fiery Dragon, you bastard! You dare attack me! Although we're rivals, if you join humans, the entire monster clan will disdain you. After Fiery Dragon had let out a dragon roar, a bunch of red energy shot out from the soul horn on his head, locking Bloodmaned. That's why the ape got enraged and scolded him. Chu Baiqing was tense. Hearing Bloodmaned cursing, he was overjoyed. He laughed and then released the pressure from the square stone, striking on Bloodmaned. While he and Bloodmaned were engaging in the battle, he was always in a disadvantaged situation. He wasn't so sure about this fight. However, as he discovered the Fiery Dragon was the archenemy of the Bloodmaned giant ape, he had an extreme joy that couldn't be explained. God helps me. The soul, washing divine water, the star original essence, and the materials from the body of the 2 level 9 beasts. My breakthrough to the second sky of true God realm finally has a hope. Chu Baiqing was excited. As he was envisioning the best picture, he felt even his pores were refreshed. He shouted and attempted to join Fiery Dragon to kill Bloodmaned. Fiery Dragon shouted indignantly. The soul horn on his head rippled magical energy waves. While he was in his beast form, each scale on his body was rattling like leaves on an ancient tree. Waves of raging, blazing energy bloomed out from the dragon's body. Bloodmaned screeched and thundered. He panted and avoided Chu Baiqing temporarily, shifting his target to Fiery Dragon. He had recognized the Fiery Dragon today wasn't like the dragon in the past. The energy rippling from his body was robust and intimidating. The dragon's body that Sure Yen had refined was pushing Bloodmaned, as if he were facing a tremendous enemy. He had to counter the giant dragon with full caution. Although the monster clan had a scale of levels, the beast's competence didn't depend on the level. However, the way the monster clan fought wasn't similar to human. They didn't rely solely on their energy, rather the robust body. During the fighting, the beast's grand body could compensate its shortage of energy. Apparently, Bloodmaned had discovered the strange features of Fiery Dragon. He recognized that Fiery Dragon, the dragon that used to be one level lower than him, was now not weaker than him, even a bit. Moreover, Fiery Dragon was a member of the monster clan, but he had broken the rules and joined the human side to attack him. This burned the raging fire in his heart, soaring to the sky. So, at first, he needed to press down Fiery Dragon's imposing pressure. When Fiery Dragon was passing Chu Bai Ching, his long tail, covered in thick scales, suddenly swept through, releasing many scarlet flames as though hundreds of blacksmiths were pounding their iron hammers on the stone table. His long tail directly hit the invisible defensive cage of Chu Bai Ching. Boom! Chu Bai Ching was so surprised he couldn't react on time. The power of his body had been accumulated on the square stone, so the power that remained in the cage was limited. Instantly, his invisible cage broke into countless light dots, scattering everywhere. Chu Bai Ching was blown 1,000 meters away underwater. Blood covered his body. He had never thought that Fiery Dragon would use this method to strike him. In people's thoughts, although the beasts had intellect, they weren't so cunning and wicked. Thus, the big price he had to pay for his wrong calculation was his badly wounded body. Chapter 628. Kill him. Chapter 628. Kill him. In fact, Fiery Dragon didn't have such a concept. Without Shi Yan's wicked tactic, Fiery Dragon could never think about such a treatment for Chu Bai Ching. Chu Bai Ching wasn't wrong when he acted according to the common knowledge of the monster clan. Anyway, he hadn't counted Shi Yan, the one who planned everything behind Fiery Dragon. That was why he got hurt in just a blink. Bloodmaned also fell into a daze. When Bloodmaned was roaring and screeching as he was about to attack the dragon, he suddenly found Fiery Dragon's target had been changed. Chu Bai Ching wanted to cooperate with Fiery Dragon to kill him, but he got hurt while he didn't put up guard towards his partner. This also stunned Bloodmaned. *CK that. Your daddy here, and you come from the same clan. How could I join the foreigner and deal with you? That *shoal has killed so many members of our clan. Well, drawing bones and taking tendons. I have to kill him first. We will talk about our matter later. Fiery Dragon thundered and then crazily stormed towards Chu Bai Ching again. Bloodmaned was astounded, but then he shouted, "You King Fiery Dragon! I didn't think that you are so mean and shameless, but I like it." The giant ape roared, and then, just like Fiery Dragon, his furious attacks changed their directions, dashing towards Chu Bai Ching. His body was radiant in a gold halo, while a power as sharp as a sword tip surged. When Fiery Dragon and Bloodmane joined hands, it was the announcement of Chu Bai Ching's defeat, especially when he had been hurt severely. Ning Duquan and the old woman stood behind a big stone, watching the fight. They had planned everything, but the wind had changed now. They were all startled in fright. Ning Duquan and the old woman discolored as they figured out that they were now the targets. They wanted to run away with grimaced countenances. Kill them first. Shi Yan released the war devil, giving it a cold order. He pointed at Ning Duquan and the old woman. Be careful. Don't let them run away using escape technique. The war devil flew out. Yang Tian Emperor, Dishan, Li Zhengrong, Fiery Flame, and Silvered Horn flew after the puppet. They shot away like lightning strikes. In just a blink, they had reached Ning Duquan and the old woman, starting to strike them with deadly attacks. Yi Changfeng didn't move, watching the scene with a happy face. Shi Yan didn't move either. He narrowed his eyes, moving his soul consciousness quietly. He was urging different kinds of powers to create gravitational field at the bottom of the lake. Then he used his soul to manipulate it, striking towards Ning Duquan and the old woman. Flows of soul consciousness added with space power flew and interweaved rapidly inside the gravitational field, affecting space there and creating a distorted, chaotic space. This was the breaking escape technique he had studied for a long time to create. Most of the escape techniques, which could jump 10,000 liawei instantly, needed to cross space to do that. If space had an anomaly and became unsteady, when someone used this technique to run away, he or she would receive the space power backlash, which would kill that person tragically. Flows of soul consciousness moved fast in that gravitational field, making the area shake disorderly. Vaguely, they could see some tiny space slits. Ning Duquan and the old woman were sensitive enough to realize the change of space around them. Eventually, they grimaced with a great insecure feeling. Ning Duquan! Li Zhengrong roared indignantly. Didn't you want to kill us? You're a shameless be***starred. I will show you what's called despair. It was Ning Duquan's idea to trigger Chu Baiqing to kill them. While Chu Baiqing was fighting with blood-maned, Ning Duquan was watching Li Zhengrong to prevent him from running away. That was why Li Zhengrong hated him to the bones. Hey, Ning old dog, long time no see. Sure, Yen laughed oddly from a distance. I couldn't destroy you in the Ice Emperor City, so I'm going to kill you today then. If you dare, use the escape technique. Haha, I really want to see the chaotic space crush you into dust. How magnificent it would be. Ha ha ha. Cool, Yi Changfeng shouted, laughing refreshingly as he finally vented out his resentment. Little dog, you would never have a decent death. The 7 ancient factions will kill you. I swear on my soul. Ning Duquan screeched as if his insanity had burst out. He turned to the old woman. Move. We will break out with all that we got. Whistle, whistle. A block of absolute darkness slowly appeared at the bottom of the lake. A formidable suction force came from that darkness, as if it could swallow everything. But the strange thing was the water in the lake didn't flow towards that area. However, Ning Duquan and the old woman were panic-stricken. They felt their souls were entangled with black smoke, feeling restless. That was the power Upanishad of the war devil, corrosive darkness. Yang Tian Emperor and Dishan seized the chance to storm towards them like strong beasts, with a crazy, brutal momentum. Explode! Shouted Yang Tian Emperor. His palms cracked open. Blood-red energy gushed out furiously, carrying the power of the blood ghost that Yang Tian Emperor had perceived. This blow could explode the opponent's flesh body into pieces. Di Shan's black wings shivered slightly. Many feathers, condensed by pure energy, shot out like a shower of arrows, which puzzled people's vision. This attack seemed to freeze even the water current in the lake. Fiery Flame and Silvered Horned stood on the right and left respectively in their beast form to block the exit of the 2 desperados. If Ning Duquan's group wanted to flee away from 2 sides, they would never avoid the crazy bombarding of Fiery Flame and Silvered Horned. The bursting power of a level 8 beast was enough to rip off Ning Duquan and the old woman on the spot. Li Zhengrong halted. After that, he threw out the rings on his fingers one by one. They flashed, then many treasures flew out, striking towards Ning Duquan's team. Li Zhengrong was a sacred grade alchemist. He had lived in the Dead Soul Mountain range for many years, which gave him the chance to collect countless rare and precious treasures, each of them being a sacred grade treasure. The fighting tactic that depended on secret treasures was the most dangerous. Light shot out from treasures, flooding the entire area. However, their energy fluctuations were different. The treasures locked the 2, while some of them even intruded their souls directly, giving them a deep, insecure feeling rising from the bottom of their hearts. War Devil, Dishan, Yang Tian Emperor, Li Zhengrong, Fiery Flame, and Silverhorn were equal to the force of 5 experts at the same level as them. Among them, Yang Tian Emperor and Dishan alone were enough to defeat the two. And the flooding treasures tactic of Li Zhangrong was giving people a big headache, along with the giant body of Fiery Flame and Silverhorn blocking the way. This battle was determined right before it started. If Shi Yan didn't use his space power to disorder space, the other two would have used the escape technique to run away and vent a chance to survive. However, Shi Yan had cut off their only hope. Puff, puff. The fearful noise of cutting flesh and bones arose from Ning, Du Quan, and the old woman's position. Next, they saw cut limbs flying across the area. Blood splashed everywhere. The thick smell of blood couldn't be hidden in water as it diffused with the water. They couldn't even release their souls. Shi Yan had prepared the soul-gathering pearl already, waiting in silence. However, he saw their souls being crushed instantly, turning into light smoke that naked eyes couldn't see, vanishing in the water of the lake. Swoosh! The soul-gather pearl still flew out, using its best to gather the smoke of their souls, which had been divided into so many different flows, before they vanished. Ning Du Quan and the old woman had both their souls and bodies perished. Everybody was cheered up. They couldn't hold their strange smiles, storming towards Chu Baiqing. Chu Baiqing was struggling hard dispiritedly. He couldn't do anything but retreat. Blood gushed from his body, and his face was as pallid as paper sheets. "Don't let him run away," Shi Yan shouted. He started to gather his soul consciousness power, making the soul sabers strengthened with space power. Those sabers then stabbed towards Chu Baiqing, making the space disordered again. At the same time, the gravitational field, which prevented Ning Du Quan from using escape technique, swiftly changed its position, moving towards Chu Baiqing. Yang Tian Emperor, Dishan, Li Zhangrong, Fiery Flame, and Silverhorn released their best strikes to restrain Chu Baiqing as they heard Shi Yan. The war devil didn't care whether Chu Baiqing would use a trick to kill both of them. The puppet got to the area and urged his power of darkness one more time. Blood-maned and Fiery Dragon stood next to him. These two formidable existences of the monster clan had a body that was even stronger than iron. As they weren't afraid of Chu Baiqing's bursting, they still bombarded the poor man, using their giant bodies to seize more room and narrow his operating space. Sure, Yin didn't join the battle. He was using his soul consciousness to distort the space, applying his new cognition of the space energy. Flows of his soul consciousness were moving like invisible blades, cutting the space in the lake. They then saw the streams appear in the bottom of the lake. They were the traces of where his soul consciousness had glided through. Not long afterward, there were hundreds of streams like that next to Chu Baiqing. These streams didn't have any operational rules. They were changing and joining each other constantly, creating the impact that could affect the space here. Shi Yan was filled with joy as he realized that his control of space power was getting more exquisite. The chance when one didn't need to worry about the counterattack of a true God Realm expert and could use the strongest attack to kill the opponent came once in a blue moon. Shi Yan seized the chance and quenched his space power, turning his knowledge into a real attack. During the fighting, he understood the movement of space and the traces of space power, which helped him take another step in understanding the mysteries of space power. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Different energies, treasures, lights, and flames exploded, shelling towards Chu Baiqing. Chu Baiqing had to dodge with all of his abilities. However, he got hurt continually, and he couldn't resist any longer. His face distorted evilly. Begrudgingly, his god soul got out of his body. A feeble phantom slowly flew out from his body. Then, it moved swiftly like lightning in order to escape the lake bottom. "I've been waiting for you for so long." Shi Yan grinned fiendishly. A powerful suction force appeared from the soul-gathering pearl, which aimed at the souls especially. At that moment, Chu Baiqing's god soul was like it was coiled by many tentacles. He struggled hard, releasing the screeches of the soul, but he was dragged towards the soul-gathering pearl little by little. He had no means to avoid this force. Yang Tian Emperor and Li Zhengrong were the experts with secret treasures and soul attacks. They took this chance to create more pressure on Chu Baiqing's soul, making it flicker like a dying flame. Swoosh! Finally, Chu Baiqing's god soul couldn't resist anymore. The soul-gathering pearl got it immediately. Shi Yan laughed crazily, snatching the pearl. The soul-gathering pearl returned to his hand. Chu Baiqing's god soul had turned into gray smoke, dispersing gradually. Chapter 629. Everyone takes a step back. Chapter 629. Everyone takes a step back. Unsure. The soul-gathering pearl was the crystal of a soul-swallowing beast, the most eccentric beast in this world. The soul-swallowing beast was good at seizing souls. Of course, its crystal had inherited this ability perfectly. All souls had weaknesses that people could use to take them. Once the soul left the body, it became feeble. The god soul was agile. It could flash and disappear instantly. If it weren't restrained right when it left the body, it was hard to capture and destroy it. The soul-gathering pearl's best feature was that it could release an intense suction force whenever it sensed the aura of the soul. It could act quickly, leaving the souls no chance to escape. This toy was made to aim at souls. When souls didn't detach from the bodies, this toy's effect wasn't significant. It was easy to destroy this bead too. However, when a soul didn't have a body to host it, it would become this bead's prey. Chu Baiqing's god soul was now a cluster of gray air, seized inside the soul-gathering pearl. The wise god soul had turned into something gray and dull. The soul's memories were gradually scattered. To purify a warrior's soul to the degree that the other warrior could absorb it, the soul seal, the memories, every feeling and events of life should be cleaned. After that, the soul would be crystal clear and be able to be absorbed. However, a soul that could survive and exist wasn't only because of the soul energy, but also the knowledge, memory, and the traces of life. When these things were washed away, one's life original seal would disappear, which meant both his body and soul had perished. In other words, Chu Baiqing was over, and he could never gather his soul seal again. Holding the soul-gathering pearl in his hand, Shi Yan was contented. He gazed at the pure black pearl for a while, releasing his soul consciousness to sense. Afterward, he retrieved his soul consciousness with a smile. Chu Baiqing was an expert at the true God realm anyway. His soul was the formidable God soul. The soul-gathering pearl needed time to crush and filter his God soul thoroughly. Shi Yan understood this well. Ning Duquan, Chu Baiqing, and the old woman were killed directly with quick and wicked attacks. Afterward, the lake restored its quiet ambience. Yang Tian Emperor, Dishan War Devil, and Li Zhengrong returned, standing next to him. All of them were excited with a smiling face. I didn't expect it to be so easy. Shi Yan, what did you use to capture even the God Soul? Li Zhengrong relaxed, as warm smiles filled his fat face. You, kiddo, you aren't ordinary at all. Every time I meet you, I find out that I can't see through you. The beast crystal of the soul-swallowing beast specialized in dealing with souls. Shi Yan beamed a faint smile. Soul-gathering pearl. Li Zhengrong was frightened. He discolored. The soul-swallowing beast is the most cunning and wicked beast in the world. You have its crystal. Wow, it's what everybody desires. He knew the secrets of the soul-swallowing beast. This beast grew up by devouring souls of creatures. It was really dangerous. I thought you would use the 9 serenities, soul-devouring flame. Yi Changfeng grinned brightly. You do have many tricks. It's cool, mate. Yi Chang Feng had the purgatory true flame. The heaven flames could sense each other. He had a sharp knowledge of Shi Yan's heaven flames, and the features of the 9 serenities' soul-devouring flame. When Shi Yan told everybody he had the method to deal with Chu Bai Qing's god soul, he wasn't so surprised. Shi Yan just smiled, but he didn't explain. After the battle with the world-extinguishing thunder flame, the 9 serenities' soul-devouring flame went dormant. Seemed like it was carrying out its living form transformation. As Shi Yan had used his host's soul to sense, he realized it wasn't a simple process. Even if he could use the 9 serenities' soul-devouring flame, he wouldn't use it. After the soul-gathering pearl purified Chu Bai Qing's god soul, it would become a pure soul that he could absorb. Such good benefit shouldn't be wasted by burning it to ashes, right? When he was talking with Li Zhengrong and Yi Chang Feng, Fiery Dragon and Bloodmaned were breathing heavily and talking with each other not far from him. After the two had joined hands and killed Chu Bai Qing, they took a short break and then started to provoke each other. Fiery Dragon and Bloodmaned had a grudge because Bloodmaned used to bully the dragon when his level was still low. Bloodmaned wanted to make Fiery Dragon his henchman, but Fiery Dragon had denied him. Bloodmaned thought that this dragon didn't appreciate his favor, so he had given Fiery Dragon a lesson while he was still young. This was carved deep in the Fiery Dragon's memory. He always treated Bloodmaned as his enemy. He always wanted to be stronger, to then find Bloodmaned to take his pride back. Fiery Dragon and Bloodmaned had accelerated from provoking to a bigger rage. Their face reddened, their breathing severe and ominous. They seemed to want to fight. Fiery Dragon was afraid of Bloodmaned, but it was the old story. Since Shi Yan had refined his body, Fiery Dragon could feel his power had skyrocketed. Now he wasn't afraid of Bloodmaned's cultivation base, which was 1 level higher than his. As they were quarreling, he wanted to vent his anger out eventually. Shi Yan looked at the further area as his mind was flickering. He laughed, then flew toward the 2 beasts while shouting, "You guys!" Bloodmaned and Fiery Dragon were about to attack each other, but on hearing his call, they stopped and looked at him bewilderedly. "Shi Yan, I don't need your support in the fight between Bloodmaned and me. Our battle won't require external help." Fiery Dragon was astounded, as he thought that Shi Yan wanted to help him. He shook his head continually and denied resolutely. "I believe Bloodmaned can't hurt me this time." Bloodmaned had gold mane covering his entire body. Each hair of his was like a gold, pointy needle. In this lake bottom, he looked like a small gold mountain with a sharp aura. His eyes filled with fighting while gazed at Shi Yan. He didn't take action immediately but muttered to himself, "This kid is the one who gave the cunning tactic to Fiery Dragon. Such shameless rouge. You humans are all the same. Without Shi Yan's plan, could we kill that true God realm human that fast? You be **starred. Don't act like you gain nothing from this. Ungrateful." Fiery Dragon was equally foul-mouthed. "You too don't rush." Shi Yan beamed a faint smile and then nodded with Bloodmaned. "Haven't you found the new change of Fiery Dragon? Do you know how it happened?" Fiery Dragon couldn't help but shout, "Shi Yan, there's so many magical things in this lake bottom. If you two fight now, both of you will lose something." Shi Yan gave a deep look to Fiery Dragon. "Moreover, this is Bloodmaned's territory. We can't do things behind his back. Your grudge isn't something you have to risk your lives for. I know you Monster Clan isn't a narrow-minded race. Everyone take a step back, and we all gain benefits from this. Won't we be all happy in the end?" Fiery Dragon kept silent, as though he was considering Shi Yan's words. His body, even after Shi Yan had quenched it already, had only the same strength as Bloodmaned's. Killing him was impossible. Otherwise, he wouldn't need to be too cautious along the way here, as he had been trying to avoid Bloodmaned. Today, Blood-Maned was also present underwater, and he couldn't avoid him. If things accelerated, he and Blood-Maned had to experience another bloody fight. Shi Yan's competence wasn't bad, which had been proven when they killed Chu Bai Qing's group. Even if Shi Yan didn't get involved in their battle, he would still feel insecure. Thus, if he wanted to initiate this fight, nothing would be good for him. Blood-Maned was quite excited. He seemed to be curious. Do you know how that fiery dragon's body changed? He really concerned this matter. I did that. After my quenching, his flesh body has been improved by 1 level. Shi Yan grinned, looking at Fiery Dragon. You don't deny that, do you? Fiery Dragon snorted. Under Blood-Maned's scrutinizing look, he nodded begrudgingly. This stinky kid has some good tricks. Without his assistance, I couldn't shed the mortal skin that fast. Blood-Maned's eyes brightened, gazing at Shi Yan. You told me this. Are you saying that you can help me too? Sure, Yan nodded resolutely. It's true. As long as you pay me enough and gather materials sufficiently, I can help you refine your flesh body, which would facilitate you to complete the process of shedding mortal skin. How does it sound? Blood-Maned almost didn't hesitate. He agreed immediately. I'll follow your idea. Good, Shi Yan was happy. First, we need to solve the business in this lake bottom, then we will discuss our long-term business carefully. I'm easy to talk with. Master Blood-Maned will understand me gradually. Blood-Maned nodded, walked to Fiery Dragon, and started to ask him the details. Fiery Dragon, you ** shoal. Why did you want to hide such good things? This is good news to our monster clan. Be * starred. You're so selfish. That human has spoiled you. Fiery Dragon's face grimaced. He grunted and mumbled in his throat, but he didn't react. When he was annoyed, he would answer in 1 or 2 sentences. How to take the soul-washing divine water and the star original essence. Shi Yan waved at Li Jiangrong's group and asked directly. You need to use heaven flame to melt the hard shell. Li Jiangrong talked with a serious face. Both the soul-washing divine water and the star original essence have a magical hard shell. It's more tenacious than the supple power of the surface water of this lake. Only heaven flames can melt it bit by bit. That's how we unseal them. I don't see the star original essence anywhere. Shi Yan was puzzled. Over there! Yi Changfeng laughed, pointing at an area under the soul-washing divine water. There's an ancient formation. The soul-washing divine water and the star original essence came out from its center. We've dragged the soul-washing divine water, but we haven't touched the star essence yet. Ancient formation. Shi Yan's eyes brightened. He didn't wait for Yi Changfeng to talk more, walking towards the place he had just pointed. Yang Tian Emperor and Di Shan followed him closely. They were curious, but their yearning was getting bigger. The soul-washing divine water was something they both desired for its magical effects. Sure, Yan walked to the place, looking up to see. As he got there, he was struck immediately and couldn't help but shout. Chapter 630. The Creator's Divine Pond. Chapter 630. The Creator's Divine Pond. A complicated ancient formation that was reaching its acme rested at the bottom of the lake. Top-grade essence crystals surrounded that formation, radiating dazzlingly. Waves of energy rippled endlessly. This ancient formation was as big as a basketball court. It was as clear and complex as the lines on a human palm. A crystal spiritual station stood in the center of the formation. Apparently, it imitated a human soul. It was ethereal and not qualitative, ever-changing. Essence crystal pillars that were as big as small mountains stood upright. An immense halo expanded from their tips, which could shake people's souls. Magical light dots were moving on that ancient formation, as though they were the small streams which would never cease to flow. flows of supernatural fluctuation rippled from the formation and dazzled people. This somehow helped them comprehend the mysteries of heaven and earth. There was a stone standing next to the spiritual station, which was covered with stars. It was more dazzling and magnificent than the most precious gem in the world. At first glance, Shiryen felt dizzy. His star martial spirit was stirred up. The Creator's divine pond. This is the Creator's divine pond. Shiryen couldn't press down the overjoyed laughter in his heart. His voice trembled as he was shivering in thrill. Everybody could see his excitement from his countenance. No one knew when they had gathered here automatically. Yang Tian Emperor, Di Shan, Li Zhengrong, and Yi Changfeng had walked to him, looking at his trembling body. However, they didn't know why he suddenly got stirred up. Shiryen took a deep breath to steady his joy. He spoke up with fright. "I didn't expect to see this thing. I thought it was just a legend. Turns out that the legend is real. What's going on?" Li Zhengrong didn't get the situation. Although he was a sacred-level alchemist with profound knowledge, it was strange to him. "Old Li, are you about to break through the true God realm?" Shiryen grinned and pretended to relax. "What?" Li Zhengrong was surprised. "Does the Creator's divine pond relate to me? Why can't I see anything strange here?" "I can't see the relation, but I know its effects. I think you will get crazy with joy." Shiryen laughed contentedly. "It could help you break through the true God realm without any risks. Do you say the Creator's divine pond interesting?" After he finished, not only Li Zhengrong, but also Yang Tian Emperor and Di Shan shivered in thrill. They were disbelieving, their eyes as bright as lightning. "Really? Is it really that magical? How could it be? How?" Li Zhengrong's voice trembled. Obviously, he was so excited he didn't know what to do. He was passionate about refining medicines, but his innate ability in cultivating wasn't really good. Experts at the spirit realm like him had reached the true God realm one by one, but not him. Due to his passion for refining pellets, he couldn't break through earlier. Otherwise, after he had known about the life original fluid in the dark magnetic noxious mist, he wouldn't stay there all the time. All was because of the life original fluid. The life original fluid gave the spirit realm warriors the chance to leap up to the true God realm, but it couldn't guarantee the absolute safety. But today, Shiryen had told him that the Creator's divine pond could help him reach the true God realm easily. How could he be idle? "Master, is it that magical?" Di Shan's voice trembled. He was also excited. "Little Yen, what's going on?" Yang Tian Emperor was the first one waking up from the fright. "If it's that miraculous, I think our prosperity has hope now." With Yang Tian Emperor's natural endowment and power, once he reached the true God realm, he wasn't afraid of the peerless experts like Yun Hao. Even the gap was wide, he could cross with only one step. At that time, he could see the whole new world, especially the true God realm. Only the true God realm experts could become gods. Warriors at such level could have the God soul, and their bodies were equipped with many magical functions. They could have a new understanding of the natural powers. The true God realm and the spirit realm were the two different worlds. When a warrior at his peak of cultivating path couldn't cross that gap, he would just be a fake god forever. "Seems like you guys don't know about the Creator's divine pond." Shiryen grinned, took a deep breath, and then explained. In the legends, there were tremendous existences among the experts in antiquity time. They would contribute their best to their families and sects to build the Creator's divine pond. This Creator's divine pond could help the peak of spirit realm warriors snatch the control of the Creator to enter the true God realm at ease. Everybody's eyes brightened to the acme. As they were listening to Shiryen, they seemed to forget to breathe. It's really strenuous to build the Creator's divine pond. It requires numerous treasures of the world. The experts with supernatural powers have to make a gateway to connect heaven and earth. They need the soul-washing divine water and the life original fluid, and the supple power of the water in the deep pond to clean the warrior's soul gradually. Then, they need sufficient energy to maintain. Shi Yan listed the strict requirements, while his face became more solemn. Even in the antiquity time, only the peerless forces could have the ability to build the Creator's divine pond. Yang Tian Emperor and Li Zhengrong didn't say anything as they were absorbing his words. You guys are so lucky that I have no words to comment. Shi Yan pondered, taking a deep breath, and then said affirmatively, This Creator's divine pond is still intact. It's never been damaged. You guys can take the soul-washing divine water, not because the formation is damaged, but because it lacks some materials now, which stops the formation temporarily. Life original fluid is the missing material. Besides, it needs the pure soul energy, the blood-soul divine water, and the 5 elements crystal marrow. That's why the Creator's divine pond's incomplete. Shi Yan looked at everybody and grinned. If we can gather those materials and pour in the formation, we can continue using this Creator's divine pond. You know how to build the Creator's divine pond. Everybody was curious, and Li Zhengrong couldn't hold it. Shi Yan shook his head. I have the attainment of a whole life of a divine grade blacksmith. In his blacksmithing experience, he mentioned the Creator's divine pond. However, a divine grade alchemist like him didn't know how to build the Creator's divine pond. Even if he knew how, he had no strong warriors to assist him. It's impossible to build one. What is the realm of the strong warriors, you said? Dishan couldn't help but ask. King God realm. Shi Yan let out the words faintly. As if his words were thunders, Yang Tian Emperor, Dishan Li Zhengrong, and Yi Changfeng were petrified, their complexions aghast. I am not deceiving you guys, Shi Yan cracked a smile. As far as I know, besides so many treasures of heaven and earth, the blacksmith who knows how to build the formation, to build the Creator's divine pond, it requires warriors at King God realm to support. Moreover, not only one, it requires 3 at least. 3 King God realm experts. Li Zhengrong was stunned, as if something had just exploded in his brain. His face struck. Yang Tian Emperor and Dishan didn't reply. They were biting their lips, gazing their scorching eyes at the so-called Creator's divine pond. Yeah, it requires 3 King God realm experts to create the Creator's divine pond that could snatch the control of nature. It needs so many treasures and years to carve the formation to build that pond. Shi Yan exhaled. He was dizzy, as if he were watching a marvelous scene of the antiquity time, where supernatural experts were joining hands. Many strong warriors were piling up rare materials that they couldn't see in the recent epoch. Under the loud instruction of a formation expert, they put the materials into the formation he had drawn. We, Li Zhengrong said we 3 times, but he didn't know how to continue. I have the life original fluid, the blood soul divine water. We will have the pure soul energy from the soul gathering pearl. The only thing we lack is the 5 elements crystal marrow. Shi Yan pondered and then said, As long as we have enough materials, we can activate this Creator's divine pond. I don't know how to build it, but it won't be a problem to add the required materials to the finished formation. Li Zhengrong seemed to be struck hard. We only need the 5 elements crystal marrow, Shi Yan sighed. If we can find the 5 elements crystal marrow, we can activate the Creator's divine pond. At that time, you and Dishan can break through directly to the true God realm, and you can condense the God soul. This is a true present from God. I have the 5-element crystal marrow. A voice that sounded like the voice of God came to them from a far distance. Right after that, Bloodmane lunged like a beam of gold light toward Shi Yan. He shouted, Shi Yan, if you help me to refine my body, I'll give you the 5 elements crystal marrow. Deal. Shi Yen shouted without any hesitation. Not only you. I will also help refine all of your level 8 subordinates once. For you and Fiery Dragon, I will help you refine at least a rank 6 sacred grade secret weapon. The price I want is everything in this creator's divine pond shall belong to me, including the soul-washing divine water and the star original essence. To you and the monster clan, these things aren't valuable. What do you think? Bloodmaned and Fiery Dragon exchanged looks as they were weighing pros and cons. We will collect materials. You have to refine the same weapons for our level 8 subordinates. We just need the sacred grade quality, like what your human clan has. Bloodmaned kept silent for a while, then started to bargain. Deal. Shi Yen agreed resolutely. However, you have to protect this area for me. Do not disclose any information about it. Absolutely. Fiery Dragon and Bloodmaned had their eyes brightened. They agreed immediately. Li Zhengrong, Dishan, and Yang Tian Emperor were a little bit upset, but when they heard Bloodmaned shouting, "I have 5 elements crystal marrow," they were overjoyed. Even their pores felt refreshed. They couldn't help but laugh idiotically. God helps us. Even God helps us. Shi Yen and Li Zhengrong's group were shouting crazily in their hearts, as they couldn't restrain their joy. Chapter 631 Fire and Ice Secret Domain. Chapter 631 Fire and Ice Secret Domain. The sky was garnet, and the ground underneath this red dome was divided into 2 parts. One was the cracked ground covered in burning flames. Thick lava murmured everywhere, heating up the whole area, making people uncomfortable. The other side was an endless glacier, and people couldn't see where it ended. The whole place was cold and tranquil. No living aura was detected. The world was frozen, and the ground was burning. The section in the middle, where fire and ice met, was a misty place with considerably neutral temperature. It was a desolate, bleak area. No trees, no beasts, no insects. Only flame and cold air permeated here and there. Plain structures made of flame stone and ice rocks where groups of warriors gathered and discussed. This was the gathering point of the 7 ancient factions, the Fire and Ice Secret Domain. Through dozens of thousand years, the martial spirit palace had taken care of this place. After some indefinitely long periods, it would open once. However, since the change of heaven and earth, this secret domain had changed its rule. The passage that led to the outside world wasn't locked anymore. This passage hid layers of dangers. 3 true God realm experts kept their eyes on this entrance. When they saw the pagans who were brave enough to break in this place, they would activate all traps in this passage. Unless the intruder was a king god expert, reckless visitors would never return, as both their souls and bodies would perish. The martial spirit palace had guarded the place for so many years. After countless trials, they understood the mysteries of this passage. That's why this place had become the shelter for the 7 ancient factions. Although the alien tribes knew where human clan was hiding, they didn't dare to enter as they hadn't understood the place. Inside a meeting hall that was built entirely of ice rock, the temple master of the Heaven Temple, Qin Guchuan, wore a cold face. His iron-gray eyes gazed at a dyed crystal lamp in his hands. A group of Heaven Temples all had a grim countenance, not daring to even breathe loudly. Cold light flared in their eyes. That crystal lamp was the life soul of a true god realm warrior, which was linked to his soul. When the crystal lamp extinguished, which meant the true god realm warrior was dead, many warriors of the Chu family had a pale face. They were sad, biting their lips and trembling, as they couldn't believe their eyes. Bai Qing's dead. A long time afterward, Qin Guchuan took a deep breath to steady his emotion. Raking his eyes through the others, he let out a low shout. Who can tell me where he had gone? Everybody exchanged looks. No one had the guts to answer him. They were all panic-stricken. You. Qin Guchuan pointed at a man. You always assisted Bai Qing. Don't you know his whereabouts? That man was a second sky of Sky Realm Warrior. He was the Chu family's major domo. He scooped, bending his head, but didn't dare to answer, just shaking his head helplessly. Bummer. Qin Guchuan shouted. Suddenly he released a silver-gray cloud, covering the major domo's entire body. Please forgive me, the major domo screeched. His body now was like a block of meat that was squeezed. It distorted horribly. His face reddened, swelling like he was congested. I really don't know. Puff! The major domo's body burst off like a watermelon. His flesh was drawn into the silver cloud, then grounded into meat pulp. Damn it! You don't even know his whereabouts. Qin Guchuan shouted coldly. He glared at the other members of the Chu family. Does anyone know of your master's whereabouts? No one dared to answer. They stooped and kept silent. The Heaven Temple consisted of many families. The Chu family was ranked only behind the Qin family. Chu Bai Qing, the headmaster of the Chu family, was at the first sky of True God Realm. He only listened to Qin Guchuan. Under the current circumstances of the 7 ancient factions, each spirit realm warrior was essential, let alone Chu Bai Qing, a True God Realm expert. The death of Chu Bai Qing had dragged the overall competence of the Heaven Temple down by 1 level. Of course, Qin Guchuan would be enraged. Ning Duquan went missing too. A slender man standing next to Qin Guchuan spoke while slightly bending his head. He was around 30 years old, but his hair were all white. His face was as still as a vampire. He seemed never to have any emotion showing on his face. Ning Duquan. Qin Guchuan's face was colder. Good, good. We've lost 2 headmasters shortly. No one dared to reply. Qin Guchuan rose 1 arm, his face sinister. He seemed to want to slaughter. However, he halted, then assigned, send a troop out there and collect intelligence. I want to know what happened to them. Yes, sir. Everybody answered in unison. The entrance of the perpetual night forest. Comoros was waiting for something with a gloomy countenance. After around 1 hour, hundreds of the Ghost Mark clan's warriors arrived. The other Grand Sage of the Ghost Mark clan, Cassidy, had come. Besides them, there was a small group of the Dark Spirit clan. These people had the cold, evil aura of the dead. They seemed to have no vitality at all. The leader of the Dark Spirit clan had a pair of deep green, bloodthirsty eyes. Comoros, you wanted to kill that kid named Sheryen. After Cassidy came, he frowned and asked anxiously, Bao Ao, he told us to keep that kid alive, didn't he? I don't care about Bao Ao, Comoros snorted, then said coldly. Wait until we're done with that stuff. We won't be afraid of Bao Ao anymore. The Dark Devil clan that kid's protecting is our humiliation. We have to clean them all. Cassidy kept silent for a while and then asked, You've made up your mind? Comoros nodded heavily. I have to kill him. He hurt me in the shady firmament, Old Mound. This kid has endless potential. If we don't kill him now, we will have no chance in the future. Cassidy no longer persuaded him. He nodded. So let's kill them. We will kill all who are present. We won't let anyone escape. Bao Ao could never know. I don't care whether he knows or not. Comoros' evil was aroused. This time, I want to take all the souls into the Een written charm scripture. Wait until the Een written charm scripture has enough nutrients, we can awake our patriarch. At that time, let's see what Bao Ao could do to us. When Comoros mentioned their patriarch, Cassidy got excited. He nodded and then said, Yeah, as long as our patriarch wakes up, we don't need to worry about anything. Remember what you've agreed with us. The leader of the Dark Spirit clan didn't say anything during their conversation. After the 2 sages had discussed, he uttered just a faint sentence. Don't worry. What I agreed with you, I'll fulfill it. Comoros glared at him. The other nodded and kept silent again, as if saying something would drain his energy. At the bottom of the lake, a group of people surrounded the creator's divine pond. They faced up to see the clear lake and the meandering steam with great excitement. The creator's divine pond used the steam and top-grade essence crystals here as the basis. The star original essence was its generator, together with the soul-washing divine water, life original fluid, 5 elements crystal marrow, pure soul energy, and so many other auxiliary materials. The pond was built. From a distance, that area didn't look magnificent at all, but when they came closer, they could feel the surging energy instantly. Bloodmaimed had gone away. He went to bring the 5 elements crystal marrow as they had made a deal. Shi Yan's group gathered here, waiting for him. Soul-washing divine water, life original fluid, and 5-element crystal marrow. We almost have them all. However, the pure soul energy I have here is only enough for one person. We need time to complete the filtering process. Shi Yan kept silent for a while, then looked at Dishan and Li Zhengrong. You too. Only one of you can enter. Yeah, if nothing unexpected happens, it will be 3 days later. Dishan didn't answer. He just bent his body, waiting for Shi Yan's arrangement. Li Zhengrong was struggling in his heart. Suddenly he said frankly, let him go first. When we killed Chu Baiqing, he had contributed more. I've not broken through for dozens of years. I'm not hurried. Everybody knew that his thoughts were different than his words. He wanted to be the first one got in there, and they knew how much he had contributed. All right, Dishan, you get in the pond first. It's the first time, so we should see if any problems happen. Shi Yan comforted Li Zhengrong with a smile. Of course. Shi Yan knew that there would be nothing unexpected happening when they operated the creator's divine pond. It's 100% guaranteed. Li Zhengrong didn't know that. When he heard Shi Yan's words, he calmed down and even felt a bit lucky. Everything they knew about the creator's divine pond came from Shi Yan himself. Li Zhengrong didn't know anything, so he wasn't sure whether the creator's divine pond was that magical or anything unexpected would happen. If Dishan went there first, he would be completely sure. At first, you guys please watch over me. I want to sense the star original essence. Perhaps I can gain something from it. After Shi Yan could confirm that Li Zhengrong agreed to this arrangement, he contemplated for a while to sense the situation of his body. Shi Yan had absorbed the essence qi of Ning, Du Quan, and the old woman. At this moment, his acupuncture points were converting it. Shi Yan could feel this process. About Chu Baiqing, when his body exploded, blood-maned and fiery dragon had swallowed his fragmented body. His essence qi had become the nutrients in those 2 giant beasts' tummy. However, the essence of Ning Du Quan and the old woman was enough for him to leap up to his next level. If he could understand something from the star original essence, perhaps he could take another step in his growth. The star original essence was the core part of a star in the galaxy, containing the mysteries of stars. Each star had been through million or even billion years of transformation until it could have the star original essence. The star original essence was like the soul of a star. It recorded every step of the star's ascension. If Shi Yan could comprehend part of these mysteries, he would have new cognition of the star power, which he could use to break through to the 3rd sky of spirit realm. It was totally possible. Would it damage the star original essence? Li Zhengrong rubbed his hands as he were a little bit worried. Shi Yan had told them that the star original essence was the source of energy supplied for the creator's divine pond. The star energy was divided and then softened to be the best energy pouring into the creator's divine pond. Once the energy of the star original essence was drained, the creator's divine pond wouldn't perform its magical effect of snatching the control of nature. Of course, Li Zhengrong had to worry. I don't want to absorb the energy in it. I just want to comprehend the Upanishads and the mysteries. You are worried too much." Sure Yen smiled and comforted him. Then he ignored the old man, floating to the ancient formation which hadn't been activated due to the shortage of materials. He slowly urged his star martial spirit to attack the star original essence in the core of the formation. Chapter 632, Wicked Genius. Chapter 632, Wicked Genius. A flowing water curtain protected the star original essence in the core of the ancient formation. Just like the soul-washing divine water, it was a fist-sized water drop, which looked really magnificent. Inside the water drop, the star original Essene looked like a giant diamond, radiating glorious halo. Sometimes, light dots shot out from it, piercing through the flowing water shell. Starlight shot out around the ancient formation, making the formation glow while emitting a wave of magical energy fluctuations. Shiryan held his breath and calmed his soul, making his mind clear of thoughts, gazing at that water drop. Gradually, he seemed to form a connection with that water drop, or the star original essence, inside the drop to be exact. Star original essence flew out from the ancient formation, trembling in the void and floating towards him. Starlight bloomed out, making Sure Yen comfortable. His heart bounced with vitality. The star martial spirit in his heart turned into countless light dots and expanded. If someone used the soul consciousness to sense his heart at this moment, after zooming in several times, he could see an entire galaxy, which was adorned with innumerous stars. Under the attractive magical force, his star martial spirit came to his front and stopped at his chest. Star dots from everywhere swarmed into his heart. Sure, Yin felt his whole body refreshed. The rising negative mood was steadied. At this moment, his acupuncture points were refining the essence Qi of Ning, Du Quan, and the old woman. During this process, the raising negative feeling was unavoidable. In the past, he used to fall into bedevilment at this phase easily. He couldn't hold the desire in his heart, and gradually he lost his mind. However, everything was smoother than he expected. It was the effect of the star power in the star original essence, which calmed his entire body and even his thoughts. He was like a baby in his mother's embrace, feeling an indescribable peace. His soul consciousness and thoughts were like invisible silk threads grabbing the water drop, forming a magnificent connection to gain the fluctuation coming from the inside. Gradually, he seemed to enter the starry night, visiting the star and watching the changes happening on the star. When it had just begun, the star was as big as a grain of sand. Gradually, it had absorbed some kind of energy in the vast galaxy. After so many years of accumulation and dragging the giant meteor passing by, it had been built up slowly. The star had grown little by little. That star still ascended magically, like a creature growing. It slowly gained vitality as it stopped collecting the scattered energy in the starry sky. Something began to change inside the small star. From a little sapling, eventually it became a giant, towering tree. Sure Yan's soul sank into this miraculous scene. He didn't notice any changes in the outside world, just focusing wholeheartedly. Yang Tian Emperor, Dishan, and Li Zhengrong were curious. They stood next to him and watched him. They could see the magical star energy, fluctuations from him, while star dots were sparkling at his chest continually. After an unknown time, a strong suction force arose at his chest. The never-vanishing stars in the vault of the sky above the lake seemed to be activated instantly. Scattering starlight plunged down from the sky, just like billions of fireflies flying toward the lake. Yang Tian Emperor's group was frightened. They couldn't help but look at the surface of the lake above their heads. They then saw so many star dots flying towards the lake. They all sank and gathered at Sure Yan's location. This is, Li Zhengrong stammered in astonishment. Afterward, he mumbled, "The wandering star shower. Not many people cultivate the star secret art in the radiant god cult's history. Comprehending the star power in just a flash could lead to the shower of star dots gathering at the warrior. Excellent. Really excellent. He knew the history of the radiant god cult, and this strange phenomenon was mentioned somewhere in their flow of history. It was similar to the brilliance sunlight bathing, which happened when cultivating the flaming sun secret art to the required degree. They all had the same magical effects. This happened when the warrior understood the mysteries of his power, inspiring the change of earth and heaven. Shi Yan would receive a great thing this time, right? Yi Changfeng shook his head and all. He beamed a forced smile. This kid's innate endowment always makes people jealous. How could he comprehend the realm that easily? Genius, Li Zhangrong acclaimed. He squinted as he was resentful towards his apprentice for not meet his expectations. If you become like Shi Yan, even if I have to die, I'm willing to do it. Yi Changfeng could only laugh to cover his embarrassment. He didn't dare to answer. Not good. Li Zhangrong shouted as he suddenly recalled something. He has created a big change. As long as someone knows about the wandering star shower, he will come here to satisfy his curiosity, especially many disciples of the radiant god cult in the perpetual night forest. Listening to him, Yang Tian Emperor and Dishan discolored in fright as they realized the seriousness of this situation. Fiery Flame, Fiery Dragon, Silverhorned, and Bloodmaned had left to prepare the materials for their body quenching. Fiery Dragon had come to Bloodmane's territory to exchange the materials to strengthen himself and to explain the details to the giant ape. At this moment, there were only 4 people, including Yang Tian Emperor, Dishan Li Zhangrong, and Yi Changfeng. If a strong warrior at the true god realm appeared, all of them would have to pay a bloody price. Especially, Shi Yan was now at the critical time to comprehend the power of the star. He shouldn't be disturbed. Otherwise, not only he wouldn't be able to take the star power, he would also have his soul perished. It's tough. Yang Tian Emperor pondered for a while and then made a quick decision. We'll go up there first. No matter who dares to come here, we will kill them all. We won't let anybody leave alive. No one else should know about this. When they were in the endless sea, Yang Tian Emperor was the tyrant overlord of a whole sea. When he killed people, he would never hesitate. He understood that Shi Yan's current situation was unique, and also the importance of the Creator's divine pond. Ultimately, he came to the best solution at this moment. Okay. Dishan nodded. Changfeng, you break the seal at the water surface and let us out. Li Zhangrong mused for a while and then nodded. You stay here. Later on, unless you receive the message sent by my soul, you should never go up there. He and Yi Changfeng could use a secret treasure to engage in soul communication. He was afraid that Yi Changfeng could engage in bad things, so he had asked some blacksmith to forge this treasure. Teacher, please be careful. If you can endure, just run. Surviving is more important than anything. Yi Changfeng's eyes were reddened. He nodded heavily. I'll protect myself. I won't make you worried. Teacher, take care. The perpetual night forest had many experts of the 7 ancient factions operating. The alien tribes also sent their men here. Clansmen of the Ghost Mark clan and the Dark Spirit clan also appeared in the forest. The number of level 9 beasts in was more than the number of one's fingers. Li Zhangrong had only the 3rd sky of Spirit Realm, as his efforts had all been put into refining medicines. So, his cultivation base wasn't worth mentioning. If he encountered a strong expert, it wasn't easy to survive. He couldn't help but worry. Yeah, you have to open your eyes wider and live well. Li Zhangrong took a deep breath. After this calamity, when I've entered the true God realm, I can protect you well, kid. Then Li Zhangrong was the first one moving towards the lake surface. Yang Tian Emperor and Dishan followed closely behind him. The center of the perpetual night forest. Heaven Temple's warriors got out of the secret domain. While they hadn't done anything yet, they saw the strange phenomenon in the sky in a daze. The white-haired warrior kept silent for a while and then said with bright eyes, "We'll go there and check." He had the peak of spirit realm, just a little bit more to reach the true God realm. He was a strong warrior who no one knew where he had been found from. No one knew his profile, but everyone knew he was a dangerous man who possessed a strange energy. He was just a peak of spirit realm warrior, but he had fought with Chu Baiqing, the one who had just reached the true God realm. However, he didn't lose that battle. From that day, he became a character who no one dared to underestimate in the Heaven Temple. The master of Heaven Temple favored this man a lot. If the situation this time weren't so bad and the master weren't enraged, he wouldn't have had to get out of the secret domain. Heaven Temple's warriors accompanying him didn't dare to go against his idea and all nodded. As they had set the target, they moved immediately without any hesitation. They dashed towards the blood-maned giant ape's territory. Almost at the same time, Grand Elders Ji Mu and Yu Ying of the Radiant God cult were staying in a different area. They were looking at the sky with a puzzled countenance. These two had received the order from Yun Hao. They were finding Shi Yan. Not long after they had gotten out of the secret domain, they found the strange phenomenon in the sky. They were stunned instantly. Some expert of our cult is still in the perpetual night forest. Ji Mu's visage was odd. He was bewildered for a long time. Then he slammed his brows together. A warrior that could inspire such phenomenon, and he still stays somewhere out there. This seems not right to me. Yu Ying kept silent for a while and then said in a faint tone, "Shi Yan's cultivating the star martial spirit. He's in the perpetual night forest." Ji Mu was dumbstruck. He acclaimed and then sighed. What a genius! Yu Ying's eyes were complicated, her face strange. Perhaps our master has predicted something. How could it be? Ji Mu shook his head constantly as though he didn't know whether he should cry or smile. You think our master is that superb? If he could even predict this, he would have snatched Shi Yan from the endless sea earlier. He would never wait for the man to turn himself in, right? Oh, it's true, Yu Ying got it. Anyway, our master has always protected him. Certainly, he has seen the young man's potential. This proves that our master's eyes are sharp and his vision is excellent. Ji Mu contemplated for a while and then said, "Our master always wanted to protect them before, even if he had to go against the other 6 factions or our own members. I didn't get it before, but now, yeah, I really admire his wide vision. I told you, Shi Yan will go beyond people's imagination. How could we compare to our master's knowledge?" Yu Ying snorted. Ji Mu forced a smile, raising one hand. "All right, my bad. I shouldn't have scolded you. I'm sorry. Okay? Forget it. I'm not going to haggle with you." Yu Ying put on a serious countenance and then said faintly, "Quick, we should go there and check. That kid is really a genius." Chapter 633. Apprehend. Chapter 633. Apprehend. At the lake bottom, Shi Yan closed his eyes, his breathing steady. Starlight radiated from his chest. The star original essence looked like a big, glorious diamond, shooting out starlight that stormed toward Shi Yan and disappeared into his chest in just a blink of an eye. All of a sudden, it seemed Shi Yan's soul had absorbed by some energy. He had no energy fluctuation now. It seemed even his soul had paused. If Yi Changfeng didn't see Shi Yan still breathing, he would have shaken him already. Yang Tian Emperor, Dishan, and Li Zhengrong had gone up to the lake surface. Yi Changfeng sometimes faced up to check the situation above his head, to see if anything was strange or not. The lake was still quiet. There was neither a sign of a battle nor strong living fluctuation. Only the starlight still plunged down from the sky like fireflies. They pierced through the lake surface, falling into Shi Yan's chest. Yi Changfeng stayed at the bottom of the lake, so he could feel some magical sound emitted from Shi Yan. Gradually, he felt as if his soul and spirit resonated with Shi Yan. Star dots in his eyes became the thought from Shi Yan's soul consciousness, giving him a feeling of having a life. Yi Changfeng was petrified, his face shocked. He was sure that even Shi Yan didn't know what was happening to him. He didn't know that he had attracted so many star dots in the sky. They gathered around him and changed the star martial spirit in his chest. Yi Changfeng could observe clearly. When the lively star dots gathered in front of Shi Yan's chest, they started to move on a magical trajectory, following some rules. Awesome! Yi Changfeng exclaimed in his heart. He shook his head continually as he knew that after this event, Shi Yan could surely break through the second time. By the time Yi Changfeng had met Shi Yan's realm was relatively low at the Nirvana realm. After just 10 years, Shi Yan had leaped up from the Nirvana realm to the second sky of Spirit realm, and in a short time he would have the chance to break through the third sky of Spirit realm. Thinking about this fast progress, Yi Changfeng couldn't hold his sigh. He had to accept this fate, giving the title genius to Shi Yan. All of a sudden, Yi Changfeng's pupils shrank. His face changed. He could vaguely feel the new energy, fluctuation above the lake. It seemed some new hotshots had arrived. He knew that the short piece of this lake was about to be broken. Above the lake surface, Yang Tian Emperor, Di Shan, and Li Zhengrong were knitting their brows silently, their face grim. Especially Li Zhengrong. He was surprised for a moment. He felt his heart sinking. He let out a low shout. Qiu Hong! Qiu Hong was the white-headed hotshot of the Heaven Temple with the peak of Spirit Realm cultivation base. His face was always stiff, with a pair of unmoving eyes. He gave people the feeling of the dead. Qiu Hong took more than 10 warriors of the Heaven Temple, following the starlight to arrive at this place from the secret domain in the center of the forest. After he could steady his body, he rose one hand to signal the other warriors to stop. The group of Heaven Temple's warriors halted, waiting for his order with their mouths shut. He glared at Li Zhengrong, then stooped to search around. His nose gently fanned as if he were searching for something. Di Shan slightly changed his visage. He looked at Yang Tian Emperor as if he had suddenly remembered something. Yang Tian Emperor stood indifferently. He slightly shook his head to signal the other to not hasten. This place still had the traces of Chu by Qing killing beasts. Although Yang Tian Emperor was careful enough to clean it up, if the other was a mindful person, he could see some streaks. Apparently, Qiu Hong was that sort of person. He seemed to have some magical power. After he took a tour around the place, he didn't say anything while pressing his slender and delicate white hand, more beautiful than the female hand, on the ground. Light ash-gray smoke diffused from his fingers, swaying into the earth like worms. They quickly moved underground. Qiu Hong closed his eyes as a strange energy wave rippled from him. His body was swaying in the wind, as if he had no bones in his body. This looked extremely eccentric. Afterward, the light smoke he had released came back to him, entering his body through his fingers. Qiu Hong stood upright. He didn't sway with the wind anymore. His eyes opened on his stiff face as he said, Chu Baiqing had come here, and so had Ning Duquan. If anything happened to them, it's because of you guys. He pointed at Yang Tian Emperor, Di Shan, and Li Zhengrong. However, it's impossible to kill them with your cultivation base and realm. Qiu Hong mused for a while and then said, I can sense the aura of the monster clan. It's certain that the hotshots of the monster clan had helped you. This place belongs to Bloodmaned, so he must have joined this battle. He just assumed from the evidence he got and arranged the whole things again. They matched, as though he had seen what happened with his own eyes. His voice was confirmative. Although his tone and words were slow-witted, he had the absolute confidence. Apparently, he agreed with his own assumption. None of the warriors accompanying him doubted his opinion. They trusted him almost immediately. They all knew Chiu Hong's ability, so they knew his assumption wouldn't be wrong. Yang Tian Emperor kept a cold face while observing carefully. Then he begrudgingly accepted the fact that, whether he admitted it or not, he couldn't change the direction of this event's development. Be careful. Li Zhengrong sighed, talking in a low tone. Chiu Hong's a dangerous person. Although he has only the spirit realm cultivation base, he could fight a tide battle with the true God realm warriors. Yang Tian Emperor and Di Shan were grim. Tell me the reasons. Chiu Hong didn't hasten to attack them. He kept talking with a dull voice. Why did you guys join hands with the monster clan? Why did you kill our Heaven Temple's warriors? He paused for a while and then continued. The reasons why you guys are still alive was because you hadn't attacked the 7 ancient factions' warriors. But now, you're walking the same path with the monster clan. This means you are standing on the opposite side to us. I think, without a reasonable explanation, I can only kill you all. Chiu Hong spoke as if it was the most natural thing. Yang Tian Emperor cracked a smile. Then it's simple. You die or we die. Good then. Chiu Hong nodded and attacked them immediately. In a thick forest, the 2 high-grade existences of the monster clan, Fiery Dragon and Blood-Maned, were quarreling. They slowly exposed themselves. Fiery Dragon, you are an A** shoal. You want to take benefit from this alone. Harumph, I know what you think. You are waiting until your energy reaches the acme, and you will find me and take revenge, right? Blood-Maned grunted. I'm telling you, you will never be my rival. I will always subdue you. Blood-Maned, you shouldn't be so contented. After I've refined my body this time, I will break to another level. Then, I will kick your A**s easily, said Fiery Dragon angrily. When the beasts communicated, they always made it simple and savage. They wouldn't be wordy or probing too much. They were always frank. It would be joining hands or being the enemy or shouting at each other. Ah! Blood-Maned suddenly shouted. He looked around and cursed. Someone's swaggering in my territory. Not good. They are above the lake. Fiery Dragon also cursed. They must be the damn humans. They came already. Growling, I hate them. Blood-Maned was roaring like an erupting volcano. He wanted to go to the lake immediately. Right at this moment, a cold, gloomy voice arose. Misters, I want to discuss something with you. Blood-Maned and Fiery Dragon halted, their face grim. Comoros and Cassidy, the 2 sages of the Ghost Mark clan, emerged from the forest. Their spooky, deep green eyes gazed at Blood-Maned and Fiery Dragon, but their attitude wasn't clear. Ghost Mark clan. Blood-Maned snorted, his face impatient. You've been strolling around the perpetual night forest for so long. What do you want after all? No matter what you want to do it quick. Don't be sticky here. You're so annoying. Comoros darkened his face. We come to ask why Fiery Dragon wants to protect the humans. Fiery Dragon didn't put him in his mind. What does it matter to you? Should you be able to control who I should protect? This is the perpetual night forest, our monster clan's territory. It isn't your shady firmament, old mound. Do you think you could share everything here? Fiery Dragon, what is he babbling about? Blood-Maned harumphed. He wants to kill Shi Yan. Fiery Dragon faced up, talking as if he were really irritated. That kid is my distinguished guest. How can I let these cunning folks kill him? I want to favor him more. Of course, Blood-Maned knew what favor he mentioned. He almost didn't hesitate and nodded continually. You guys can't kill him. He's useful to us. I don't care if you want to kill anyone else. But if you want to touch him, don't blame me for being impolite. I don't understand why the strong beasts like you guys need a human kid. Cassidy couldn't understand their points. I can't explain it to you guys. Apparently, Fiery Dragon didn't want to answer. Can you not protect him? Comoros pondered and then shouted, his face malicious. Stop being arrogant in front of us. This place is the Perpetual Night Forest. The Ghostmark clan can't swagger here. Bloodmane's aura bloomed out. He couldn't hold it, but attack the others. Kill! Comoros was also stimulated. The written charm, scripture, needed strong souls. If they could get the souls of Bloodmane and Fiery Dragon, their big business would be done. He thought he could bet on it this time. Jimu and Yu-Ing were running as fast as if they were flying. They almost got there. Seeing the star dots falling like a heavy rain toward a lake, Jimu and Yu-Ing were excited. They kept complimenting. Boom, boom, boom. Fierce noise of energy impact arose from that area. The shocking waves shook the entire ground. A frightened streak appeared across Jimu's eyes. He shouted, Furious battles are ahead of us. 2 places. There are true God, realm warriors. Yu-Ing changed her face dramatically. She hesitated and then asked, Do we need to notify our master? Of course. Ji-Mu affirmed. Shiryen wouldn't be safe in any area. I think these battles relate to him. Yu-Ing agreed. She nodded continually as she started to send the news to Yunhao. Chapter 634, Mind Perception. Chapter 634, Mind Perception. Yang Tian Emperor and Dishan were struggling hard with grimaced faces. Qiu Hong had stirred up their temperament. Qiu Hong had pushed them, making them have no strategy left to try. Qiu Hong had stopped their mysterious attacks right before they could cast them completely. None of their attacks could reach Qiu Hong. It seemed Qiu Hong could predict their moves. He could always avoid Yang Tian Emperor's and Dishan's attack one step ahead. It seemed the void was filled with Qiu Hong eyes, giving him the ability to see every single situation. Swoosh! A drop of blood shot out from Yang Tian Emperor's middle finger, a drop of immortal blood. It turned into a flow of red light that nothing could compare with, carrying the thick smell of bloody waves, darting rapidly. Wind howled and twirled from the pair of Dishan's pure black wings. Wind blades covered the whole sky like countless shiny knives, creating a light curtain of wind blades. It looked terrifying. However, under the waves of Yang Tian Emperor's and Dishan's attack, Qiu Hong had always moved one step ahead of them. When he reappeared, he was in the blind corner that Yang Tian Emperor's and Dishan's attack couldn't reach. Then he walked to Yang Tian Emperor and Dishan with a golden leaf in his hand, his face still emotionless. His palm glowed with a glorious golden light. The golden light radiated, shining on that golden leaf, revealing the clear lines like the lines of human palms. It seemed to contain the life Upanishads. Gradually, immense fluctuations of life rippled from that golden leaf, turning into a gold light sea, raging torrentially. It dissolved Yang Tian Emperor's and Dishan's attacks, pushing them backward continually. The gold light sea that the golden leaf created could confine people's souls and restrain their hearts. When the golden light shone on Yang Tian Emperor and Dishan, they immediately had a dispirited feeling, making them quit attacking and want to surrender. It was fortunate that these two had the will of steel, and they were both brave and ruthless. They reacted by biting their tongue to wake up themselves from this state. Qiu Hong didn't say anything during their battle. His face was dull and emotionless. With a steady mood, he attacked the other two, neither slowly nor fast. However, Yang Tian Emperor and Dishan had no means to stop him. The situation was obviously getting worse. Yang Tian Emperor was at the second sky of Spirit Realm. With his martial spirit, the profound experience in fighting, and the god blood in his body, when he fought with the experts at the peak of Spirit Realm, he wouldn't fall into the disadvantaged situation. Dishan was the patriarch of the Black-Winged clan with exquisite powers and a special rigid body of the demon clan. Fighting with a human at the same realm, he should be more certain. However, Chiu Hong's prophetic ability had broken their perception, revealing their weak points. They had to struggle hard to resist. Li Zhangrong was engaging in the battle with the 10 warriors that Chiu Hong had brought. 4 of them were at the spirit realm, and the others were at the 3rd sky of Sky Realm. This force was dealing with Li Zhangrong alone. Li Zhangrong's situation wasn't positive either. However, those warriors didn't want to kill Li Zhangrong, apparently. They were controlling their attacks, as they just wanted to capture him alive, perhaps. Li Zhangrong had too many secret treasures. While his hands were moving, his strange secret treasures soared to the sky, releasing magical waves that neutralized the warrior's attack. As the most brilliant alchemist of the Dead Soul mountain range, his position was noble. Alchemists around the world respected and admired him a lot. Using secret treasures to exchange for medicines wasn't a strange business. During these recent years, the treasures he got in the Dead Soul mountain range weren't bad. The worst of them were the spirit grade ones. He also had 7 or 8 sacred grade treasures. He only needed to use the secret treasures and weapons to smash the warriors at his realm. Li Zhangrong was holding a massive banner, which was embroidered with lively monsters and devils. When he waved it, these figures started to bare their claws and fangs, as if they had been revived, spurting thick green smoke. This smoke carried a poison that dizzied people. Everybody had to halt their attacks and deal with this poison. Seized the opportunity, Li Zhangrong ran away, flying to Yang Tian Emperor and Dishan and shouting, "Be careful! Chiu Hong has the mind perception, martial spirit. He can read your thoughts and predict your moves." Yang Tian Emperor and Dishan changed their countenances in fright. Finally, they knew why they were opposed. The mind perception martial spirit could read changes in the mind of the opponent, which helped him find the way to break or avoid it one step ahead. Although there weren't so many martial spirits in the divine great land, they could buy some martial spirits. However, the magical and unpredictable martial spirits were rare and precious. No ancient factions would sell the martial spirit's original seal. It would be inherited through the family's bloodline. The mind martial spirit was the most magical one. Every warrior had to long for it. In the divine great land, mind and soul martial techniques were the precious resources of the 7 ancient factions. Even the hotshots of that faction sometimes didn't have a chance to practice them. Chiu Hong's mind perception martial spirit was inborn. During fighting, he could use this martial spirit to read the next move of the opponent precisely. Warriors at the same realm could never be his rivals. Even the high realm warriors had to receive a big headache fighting with him. No matter how strong their attacks were, they were useless. Yang Tian Emperor's and Dishan's cultivation base wasn't much different from Chiu Hong's. In their battle, he could use the mind perception ability to avoid all of their attacks. He just needed to focus on them. Right at the beginning, he was undefeatable. Oh, that's it. Yang Tian Emperor was surprised. He reacted immediately, laughed, then sat down motionlessly. Flows of thick blood aura diffused from Yang Tian Emperor, creating a curtain of dense blood smog covering him. Layers of blood air currents moved, rippling around him. The energy of heaven and earth sizzled together. "I got it," Dishan was amazed. He followed the other to sit down. He didn't attack, just using his best to defend. As long as they attacked, their mind would reflect their moves, and Chiu Hong could read them immediately, and he always dodged the attacks on time. This way, he could wear their energies and defeat them ultimately. However, when the two didn't take action, but just defended, waiting for his attack, this was another situation. Although Chiu Hong knew their defending energy fluctuations What could he do? He had to break their defense to reach Dishan and Yang Tian Emperor. He had to consume his energy to do that. Yang Tian Emperor and Dishan used this strategy to carry out the battle of attrition with Qiu Hong, using the unchanged to deal with the ever-changing. Once Qiu Hong ran out of power, they would attack him again. This was a good tactic to deal with warriors who cultivated mind techniques, like Qiu Hong. Marvelous, Li Zhengrong complimented. Yang Ji is really extraordinary. You can think of the countermeasure that quickly. Yang Tian Emperor cracked a smile, teasing Qiu Hong, "Come over here." Qiu Hong stopped all of a sudden. He frowned, then swept his eyes through Li Zhengrong, talking indifferently. "Mr. Li, I didn't want to hurt you. You are an alchemist. Your life benefits us. But if you want to stand on the opposite side to the 7 ancient factions, you shouldn't blame me." Then, Qiu Hong shifted his target to Li Zhengrong. He ignored Yang Tian Emperor and Dishan. Li Zhengrong changed his visage. Yang Tian Emperor and Dishan frowned. Exchanging looks, their complexions worried. Although Li Zhengrong had the 3rd sky of Spirit Realm, he had paid too much attention to refining medicines. His fighting experience wasn't enough. When Qiu Hong aimed at him, he could know the attacking trajectory of Li Zhengrong's secret treasures. Even if Li Zhengrong put forth everything to defense, he wasn't Qiu Hong's opponent. Li Zhengrong was in danger. Yang Tian Emperor and Dishan were hesitant. They were about to break their defending state to assist him. Right at this moment, 2 lights zoomed over from a far distance. 2 figures were flying toward them. They were Yu Ying and Ji Mu. Yang Tian Emperor and Dishan shivered. They were astounded, their face petrified. Ah! When Ji Mu arrived, he looked here and there, his face surprised. "Where's he? Where's that kid?" "In the lake." Yu Ying pointed at the lake. "Don't you see that all of the starlight is flying into the lake? He should be in the bottom of the lake." Ji Mu nodded. "Yeah, should be in the lake." "Haha. Seems we arrived at the wrong time. The fight here is bustling." Everybody paused, looking at Ji Mu and Yu Ying with a stunned face, as they didn't know the two's attitude. Why do you come here?" Yang Tian Emperor hesitated for a while and then frowned. Recently, when the 7 ancient factions wanted to kill them, only the Radiant God cult stood up to protect them. As these 2 were from the Radiant God cult, Yang Tian Emperor was confused, so he had to ask them, then plan the next countermeasure. "We're finding Shi Yan." Yu Ying beamed a faint smile. "We don't care about the other things. You guys just need to tell me where Shi Yan is." "Arg, I don't need you to tell us anyway. He should be in the lake bottom." "Grrrr, roar." 2 crazy roars arose, not far from them. Afterward, 2 intimidating auras were moving fast towards them. Yu Ying and Ji Mu exchanged looks. Their faces darkened as they knew the situation wasn't going well. Not long after that, Fiery Dragon and Bloodmaned appeared. Their giant bodies crushed the ancient big trees as if they were just little dried branches. They were roaring and fighting against someone while moving towards this area. Seemed they were besieged in a bad situation. Yang Tian Emperor, Dishan, and Li Zhengrong were struck. They had planned to use Fiery Dragon and Bloodmane to solve the situation here. But when they saw the situation of the 2 monsters, they had to change their faces in fear. Their heart sank as they knew the situation was too bad. All of them saw the true God Realm experts of the Ghostmark clan and the Dark Spirit clan. This made them grimmer. Chapter 635. Yang Tian Emperor gets crazy. Chapter 635. Yang Tian Emperor gets crazy. Fiery Dragon and Bloodmaned were restlessly agitated. Comoros and Cassidy of the Ghostmark clan were oppressing them furiously, especially the true God Realm expert of the Dark Spirit clan. His attack was so malicious. Comoros and Cassidy had the True God Realm cultivation base. Cassidy was at the second sky of True God Realm, while Comoros was at the third sky of True God Realm. However, they couldn't use their full power at this moment. They seemed to be equal to Fiery Dragon and Blood-Maned. Vision of the Dark Spirit Clan had the second sky of True God Realm cultivation base. The warrior of the Dark Spirit Clan had a body as firm as pure steel. Perhaps his body was even more tenacious than Fiery Dragon and Blood-Maned. Comoros, Cassidy, and Vision had joined hands. Together with many hotshots of the Ghostmark clan, Fiery Dragon and Blood-Maned couldn't endure such force. They were fighting and retreating at the same time. They wanted to find Yang Tian Emperor and Dishan to help them. Too bad, Yang Tian Emperor's side had been already struggling. Qin Hong was enough to hold them down. Seeing Comoros leading a group of the Ghostmark clan's hotshots, pushing Blood-Maned to this area, Yang Tian Emperor and Dishan were hesitant. Their faces grimaced. Arg! Fiery Dragon shouted, rolling his eyes at Qin Hong and the Heaven Temple's group, speaking indignantly. So annoying! Why do I have to meet these human brats everywhere? Blood-Maned, Fiery Dragon, if you ignore Shiryen, we will leave immediately. Comoros hovered in the air, his face cold. Vision of the Dark Spirit Clan didn't say anything. His deep green eyes flared a bloodthirsty, malicious light as if he hated that he couldn't kill everybody here. He was looking at the group of human experts, including Qin Hong, Yang Tian Emperor, and Jimu. While the Dark Spirit Clan had been confined in the Dead Soul Mountain Range, many wandering dead souls had been hunted by human warriors in the Dead Soul Mountain Range, turning into refining materials for their weapons or medicines. Turning back to the resentment they had cast 10,000 years ago, Human Clan had sealed them in the foreign land, making the members of the Dark Spirit Clan live with their bodies and souls separated, which had decreased their power drastically. Vision had a deep grudge against humans, much more than what he had against Fiery Dragon and Blood-Maned. This situation doesn't seem right. Jimu shifted his look from Fiery Dragon, Blood-Maned, to the hotshots of the Dark Spirit Clan and the Ghostmark clan. He said with great confusion, "Seems like all this relates to that kid Shiryen." Yu Ying couldn't hold her forced smile, talking in a low tone. "That boy is truly a disaster." Jimu and Yu Ying didn't join their conversation. They just stood there with a complicated complexion. They wanted to retreat quietly as they saw something wrong here. Fiery Dragon and Blood-Maned were the level 9 members of the Monster Clan. They were equal to the True God Realm warriors. Besides, there were 3 more pagans at the True God Realm. This force was something Human Clan could resist. If they stayed here, it was not different from suicide. Qin Hong was hesitant. His face suddenly changed into a little anxious. He spoke to the other warriors, quietly. "Prepare to withdraw." "Damn humans!" Vision of the Dark Spirit Clan changed his countenance and shouted as he saw the human groups want to leave. "Kill them first." Comoros, Cassidy of the Ghostmark clan, heard Vision. They nodded, swinging their arms. "Kill humans first." The warriors of the Ghostmark clan stormed out from behind Comoros and Cassidy, furiously attacked Qin Hong and the warriors of the Heaven Temple. Fiery Dragon and Blood-Maned didn't move. They didn't know Qin Hong, Yu Ying, and Jimu. Of course, they wouldn't care about their lives. They even wished that the Ghostmark clan and the Dark Spirit clan would kill them all. Jimu and Yu Ying paled. They halted while dashing under the shades of the ancient trees. They suddenly felt a malicious soul thought snatching down like a soul seal, dizzying their consciousness. Comoros looked cold and evil. A strange light shone radiantly on his eyes as he was using the mysterious soul technique of the Ghostmark clan, covering all people around him. Although Qin Hong could sense it beforehand, as his mind perception could recognize the soul seal, he didn't have the competence to avoid it since the soul binding technique the other was using had blocked all directions. An invisible soul net snatched down from the sky, enveloping the entire area. The creatures under that massive net felt as if their soul had been stagnant in a bog. The more their souls struggling, the deeper they sank into the darkness. Their consciousness started to scatter as they were about to lose their minds. Yang Tian Emperor, Li Zhengrong, Qin Hong, Jimu, and Yuing weren't exceptions. These human warriors were covered in the soul restraining power that Comoros had released. Their sea of consciousness became turbulent. Gradually, they were all stirred up. Quite the contrary, Dishan wasn't affected. He stayed unharmed. Although he didn't understand soul power, with the sturdy body of the winged clan, he wouldn't be affected by strong soul energy. Regarding using soul, he was really dumb. Although he could recognize something weird, he didn't know where it came from. Fiery Dragon and Bloodmaned weren't affected either. Their situation was similar to Dishan of the Black Winged Clan. They all had a tenacious body. They were the creatures that didn't depend on the soul to level up. To Human Clan, it was the deadly soul fluctuation. But to them, its effects weren't really fierce, so they didn't need to be tense. The sun, moon, and stars were shining in the sky. The bustling forest where furious battles had taken place suddenly quieted. There was no sound or noise. Only Yang Tian Emperor Li Zhengrong and the others were holding their heads, painfully resisting something. Fiery Dragon and Bloodmaned stood next to each other. They were discussing in a low tone, considering whether to help Yang Tian Emperor and Li Zhengrong or not. Dishan stood not far from Fiery Dragon and Bloodmaned. His eyes were filled with wicked thoughts. He was urging his power impatiently. He understood that if Fiery Dragon and Bloodmaned didn't help them, Yang Tian Emperor and Li Zhengrong would have the same ending as Qin Hong and his warriors. The soul energy Comoros had released would kill them little by little. Dishan knew his competence. He would never be able to disturb the experts of the Ghost Mark clan and the Dark Spirit clan. He could only depend on Fiery Dragon and Bloodmaned, but he didn't dare to provoke their beast instinct, as he was afraid that it would break everything. If he dies, Shi Yan won't let us at ease. He's Shi Yan's great-grandfather. Dishan waited for a while, then pointed at Yang Tian Emperor. If Shi Yan's agitated, none of you will live in peace. Hearing Dishan, Fiery Dragon and Bloodmaned couldn't help but change their visage. They became restless quietly. Roar. However, at this moment, Yang Tian Emperor suddenly roared with a wild countenance. Blood splashed from his entire body. Instantly he became bloody crazy. The soul restraint from Comoros lost its effect on Yang Tian Emperor. The bloody Yang Tian Emperor stormed forward like the moth heading towards the flame. He dashed towards Comoros and shouted, "I want you to die!" Drops of ruby immortal blood flowed through his veins, blending with the god blood in his body. At this moment, Yang Tian Emperor's power was beyond the power of a spirit realm warrior. His flow of energy was wild and brutal, carrying an endless murderous aura. His flesh and blood started to melt when he got enraged, which looked terrifying. Everybody gazed at him in fright. Their faces changed dramatically. They didn't expect that this second sky of spirit realm human warrior could be so formidable and insane at the same time. They all were petrified. Even a vision of the Dark Spirit clan was startled, his face disbelieving. This was the first time he put on the solemn countenance. When they were in the endless sea, Yang Tian Emperor was the peerless warrior. That year, when he was still at the first sky of spirit realm, he had resisted the 3/3 sky of spirit realm hotshots of the demon clan. The power he had shown them at that time had terrorized people. Today he had reached the second sky of spirit realm. At the most critical time, he had burned the immortal blood as the price for his tremendous bursting power. A precious armor made of blood emerged from his bloody bones, covering his bones. It was vivid red and evilly strange. This armor seemed to drink from his flesh and blood, making his aura more imposing. A magical blood will appeared in Yang Tian Emperor's hand. The blood will looked like a sun dyed in blood. It was burning, releasing a garnet light accompanied by the thick scent of blood, darting towards Comoros. While the magical wheel was moving, blood waves rippled layers by layers. Hundreds of waves piled up, creating a viscous blood object. It nauseated the true god realm warriors like Comoros. The blood in their bodies couldn't help but surge turbulently. Yang Tian Emperor's aura burst instantly as a blood light shot toward Comoros. Comoros was frightened, as he was scared by the erupting power of Yang Tian Emperor. He shouted, "Cassidy!" Cassidy's face showed that he was struck. The scattered tattoos on his body suddenly revived. The tattoos flew out of his body, turning into so many dark, green written techniques, gathering in the void. A strange, evil fluctuation emitted from them. All ancient trees near Cassidy seemed to be led by that strange energy. Rigid branches became as flexible as cotton. They extended massively towards Yang Tian Emperor like countless tentacles. Wood power. This was the innate ability of the ghost tattoos on Cassidy's body. It could manipulate any kind of flora to help him. The trees would become the extension of his limbs. These giant trees seemed to have a new life. They wiggled and extended their branches to cover the entire sky. Yang Tian Emperor was coiled and his speed reduced. *CK it. Move. Fiery Dragon roared. He twisted his giant body, sweeping his dragon tail forward, cutting the branches piece by piece. As Bloodmane saw the dragon taking action, his brutal nature was stirred up. He let out a long roar and then started to attack Cassidy. The gold fur in front of his chest was like a shower, shooting and covering both Cassidy and Comoros. The soul power Comoros had released lost its effects instantly. Human warriors, including Li Zhengrong, Qin Hong, Jimu, and Yu Ying, restored their clear mind. They immediately got the situation. Right at this moment, the tranquil lake started to ripple. A halo of starlight shot out from the bottom of the lake. Di Shan's eyes brightened. He was cheered up. The boy's good now. Fiery Dragon laughed wildly. He steadied his mind and attacked Comoros while roaring furiously. The perpetual night forest belongs to the demon clan. Who dares to mess here? I'll make him live in misery. Chapter 636. Fierce Man. Chapter 636. Fierce Man. Yang Tian Emperor's blood and flesh were burning hot like flames. He was sinking in insanity. What he was burning was his immortal blood and the god blood he had absorbed. The immortal blood and the god blood were stimulated thoroughly. The erupting energy had broken Comoros' soul restraint. It also burned Cassidy's wood power that was entangling him into ashes. Just like the moth flying into the flame, he stormed towards Cassidy, using the blood sea to cover him. In the blood sea Yang Tian Emperor had released, even the true god realm warrior Cassidy had to struggle hard. The energy from Yang Tian Emperor's body had disordered Cassidy's blood, making it turbulent. His consciousness became hazy. When Fiery Dragon and Bloodmane saw the big change in their current situation, they didn't hesitate anymore, barging in and entangling Comoros and Ivision. Above the lake surface, light shadows entangled. Different energies impacted. Two giant figures towered the entire area like giant cloud clusters. Countless trees were exploded and smashed due to the shock waves and energy impact. Qin Hong and the Heaven Temples group felt tiny in such an earth-shaking battle. They felt anxious. Qin Hong didn't dare to act rashly. He wasn't sure if leaving at this moment would enrage the beasts or not. They hid in the broken pieces of wood, still panic-stricken. Jimu and Yu Ing exchanged looks. They gawked, unable to believe their own eyes as they were looking at Yang Tian Emperor in his insanity. They were scared. That man, is he really at the spirit realm? Ji Mu sighed in fear, shaking his head continually. I can't imagine any spirit realm warrior could burst out such formidable power like him. Yu Ing bit her lips, couldn't hold her miserable smile. Perhaps people around Shuryen are all mysterious and imposing like him. Sometimes I think whether it's true or not that our divine great land has been peaceful for so long, and that's why we don't have any peerless warrior. The brutal craziness Yang Tian Emperor was exposing was beyond their common knowledge. It was so formidable. Cassidy was a true god realm warrior of the Ghost Mark clan. He had received the ancient inheritance with the innate mysterious tattoos of the Ghost Mark clan. Although he hadn't recovered completely, it was enough to have a battle with the peak human warriors of the divine great land. However, Cassidy was struggling to fight with Yang Tian Emperor. Apparently, he had fallen into the disadvantaged situation. The development of this battle had gone beyond their imagination. As Jimu and Yu Ing found that no one noticed them, they didn't hasten to leave, but hid in a corner and observed the situation. They wanted to know the next events. Yang Tian Emperor seemed to get crazy. A blood armor covered his exquisite bones. The blood wheel in his hand was rippling blood waves, carrying out the energy of desperation. Dishan faced up to watch the sky. His black wings fluttered gently as a helpless, desperate feeling swarmed his soul. Yang Tian Emperor had also affected him. At this moment, Dishan got to know that Yang Tian Emperor had concealed his real competence from the beginning. He hadn't performed his best yet. The blood wheel and the energy Yang Tian Emperor released around his body carried a deep despair, intent domain. It looked like he could only urge his real power instantly at the moment he had fallen into a desperate situation. At that time, he could achieve a state no one had ever imagined. He had used desperation to awake his rampage power, causing the subdued opponents an immense despair. He had used his steel will, which had been quenched by hundreds of battles, to destroy his opponents' minds. The way Yang Tian Emperor comprehended his power was apparently an evil, crooked path. It was crazy and stubborn. Only the imposing character, whose face was calm and heart was wild like him, could walk on this extraordinary, cultivating path. He could burn his own flesh and blood in desperation, igniting the god blood he had absorbed to burst out his best potential in the dead corner. Only an extremely cold-blooded person, who was cruel to even himself, could comprehend and develop it furiously. Yang Tian Emperor was that sort of a fierce man. Using the second sky of Spirit Realm cultivation base, he had burned his blood and flesh to gather the power from the desperate situation to stimulate his potential and erupt the power hiding in his flesh and blood. He had used the hopeless thought of the certain death to forcefully drag his opponents into the nightmare of despair. He had used his incomparable will to die together with his opponents. Such a character, if he weren't crazy, he was a madman with great wisdom and willpower. Cassidy was distressed. Submerged in the intent domain created by Yang Tian Emperor, the terrifying sight in which the Ghost Mark clan was destroyed emerged in his head. Each member of the Ghost Mark clan burned like dying fireworks. They shot up to the sky and fell one by one. Their souls perished before their bodies reached the ground. As their grand sages, he and Comoros had no solution. Their souls were confined, and they could only see things accelerated to the point they were afraid of the most. They could only watch their patriarch being besieged and hurt severely by countless experts. They had witnessed their patriarch burn his soul to send them into the written charm scripture before he sealed it and died. Painful and pathetic memories uncontrollably rose in his heart. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't wash them away. Cassidy's inner demon was born. A helpless despair appeared from a deep place in his heart. He felt all of his power had left him, while his soul was sinking into darkness. He was a true God realm expert, but he couldn't get rid of the desperate power Yang Tian Emperor had released. He had been dragged into the abyss of a nightmarish memory. He didn't have the will to resist or the determination to risk his life to escape. That genocide battle was forever his inner demon. After so many years, he had pressed it down, trying to forget. He didn't dare to recall or think about it. He thought he had gotten over this painful challenge. Only when Yang Tian Emperor burned his god blood and his flesh to release the energy he had comprehended in despair, Cassidy recognized that he hadn't escaped that knot in his heart. He still bore the grudge of that humiliating past. He was a true god realm warrior, but his mind was seized and his power decreased drastically. In Yang Tian Emperor's furious wave of attack, the Red Blood Sea, he was like a simple leaf that would sink in the Blood Sea at any minute. Everybody was subdued by the strange phenomenon in the sky. At his second sky of Spirit Realm, the power Yang Tian Emperor had demonstrated now wasn't less than the peak of true God realm warriors in the divine Great Land. The bursting power and desperation was the most stubborn and extreme power in the world. It was like the sharp sword dyed in blood that could pierce through everything. Tui, Cassidy gushed out blood, dripping on his chest. His clear and bright eyes started to lose the focus as they no longer had light. Yang Tian Emperor was now a bloody skeleton. None of his muscles was intact. He looked so terrible that everybody would feel the extreme fear at first glance looking at him. Some timid people would instantly have butterflies in their stomach and vomit directly. To which degree of brutality and craziness he had to burn his body to pursue the extreme power Upanishad under the pain of ripping the heart. The one who could reach this far, who didn't treat his flesh body as he should, if he couldn't increase his strength massively, even God would disagree. Cassidy spat blood. His aura was restrained. Blood trickled from the corners of his mouth like two small streams, continually flowing down his body. It was as if blood in his body was led by some mysterious force, and it wouldn't stop until all of his blood had run out of his body. Qin Hong watched the scene from a distance. Later on, he sighed and shook his head. Hero. He suddenly realized that although he had been pressing Yang Tian Emperor, he couldn't put the old man into a hopeless situation. He felt lucky now. Otherwise, what awaited him was the extreme sea blood. Qin Hong understood that if Yang Tian Emperor had done it on him, with his real competence, he would have died already. In Heaven Temple, he was addressed as the man who should never be underestimated. However, as he had witnessed Yang Tian Emperor's burst in a desperate situation, he knew he was too far behind this man. No wonder why our master has appreciated him that much. Jimu was bewildered for a while and then sighed. I rarely admire people, but today I admire him. Turns out there is a fierce man like him in this world. Yu Ying kept silent, just nodding to show her agreement. Fiery Dragon and Bloodmaned were concentrating on dealing with Comoros and Ivision. These two high-grade monster clans experts were savage. Their powers weren't less than the other two pagans. When everybody was gazing at Yang Tian Emperor, the rippling lake had calmed down. The brilliant starlight didn't shower from the sky anymore. The lake's surface became the tranquil, bright mirror again. It reflected the fierce fight above the lake. There was no ripple on the lake's surface. A scarlet halo appeared on the lake and started to expand. The extreme heat rose, and shortly, the lake's surface cracked open into a small duct. While the battle above the lake was still excited and furious, a majestic body got out of the lake from that small duct. He slowly emerged in the light of the sun, moon, and stars. Then he frowned and observed the sight. Dishan was looking at Yang Tian Emperor with admiration. He suddenly sensed something, turning around. He was dumbstruck, kneeling down right away and greeting with great respect. Master. Sure, Yan nodded gently. Millions of star dots were covering him. They looked like a dense cloud of winged insects hovering around him. At first glance, he looked like he was wearing a brilliant costume made of stars, which was gloriously beautiful. On his chest, intimidating soul fluctuations rippled. Countless star rivers crossed each other, twinkling as though they could dazzle people. It looked like he had numerous galaxies gathered in front of his chest and helping him collect and maintain the mysterious star abilities of the vast star sea. "Master, you've broken through again." Dishan sensed for a while and then shouted in joy. Sure, Yen beamed a faint smile to confirm his assumption. Suddenly, Shi Yen darkened his face, squinting and looking at Yang Tian Emperor, who was covered in blood. "What's going on?" Dishan stooped and quickly briefed him about what had happened. Sure, Yen listened to him with a stiff face. His eyes gradually became cold and evil. Later, he nodded, raking his eyes through Qin Hong's group and ordering Dishan, "Kill!" Dishan happily regarded him and then stormed towards the Heaven Temple's group. Chapter 637, Tit for Tat. Chapter 637, Tit for Tat. Sure, Yen lifted his head while his arms positioned in the posture of drawing a bowstring. Countless star dots massively rolled from his chest to between his arms. In just a moment, a Big Dipper bow was formed by the star dots. Fist-sized clusters of star dots arrayed the Big Dipper. A starlight arrow was slowly condensed, then gently knocked on the bow. Swoosh! A shooting light crossed the sky and pierced through layers of obstacles, darting towards Chiu Hong. Chiu Hong's spirit trembled. His mind perception, martial spirit, couldn't catch Shi Yan's thought. It couldn't guess the trajectory of this starlight arrow. He could only feel an imposing danger flying towards him at an unimaginable speed. It was like a dark hand that he couldn't see, grabbing and squeezing his neck resentfully. Chiu Hong felt suffocated. His pores were all blocked, and his face was filled with fear. Light dots zoomed in his eyes. That light shot was like a meteorite falling from the immense galaxy, bringing with it the ancient power of the vault of heaven, shooting directly to his chest. Chiu Hong's visage changed dramatically. He didn't have time to think as he urged his mind perception, martial spirit, pouring all his vehement thought into the golden leaf. The golden leaf bloomed a fierce, dazzling golden halo. It transformed in the void, turning into many glorious golden leaves, piling up and creating a hefty shield in front of him. Clang! Clang! Light sparked everywhere, while the golden leaf wall was shaken. Sounds echoed like the jingling of bells. Chiu Hong's face suddenly reddened, as fear arose deep inside his gray eyes. At this moment, Dishan arrived and started to slaughter the other warriors of the Heaven Temple. "Old Li!" Shi Yen let out a low shout. Li Zhengrong reacted timely. He didn't say anything, but stormed forward. Many different types, secret treasures, flew out, bombarding the warriors. At the same time, Shi Yen summoned War Devil, pointing at Chiu Hong. War Devil turned into a shadow, disappearing into the bright sky. When it reappeared, it had already reached Chiu Hong. Chiu Hong discolored. His mind trembled. This was the first time he got scared. He didn't know why his mind perception, martial spirit, had lost its effect. He couldn't read War Devil at all. War Devil wasn't a creature. It didn't have the soul fluctuation. It was just a fighting puppet with the powers of its owner when he was still alive. The puppet's appearance was to deal with Chiu Hong. Chiu Hong was always dependent on his mind perception, martial spirit, but it didn't work with War Devil. At this moment, his weakness was exposed. His power wasn't excellent enough. War Devil pushed forward, and the golden halo in front of Chiu Hong was devoured bit by bit. All of a sudden, he fell into a dark abyss. The War Devil alone was enough to deal with him. Li Zhengrong and Dishan had joined them from a far distance. Sometimes they barged in, totally subduing Qiuhong. Not far from them, Shi Yan turned around to look at Yang Tian Emperor. His eyes became cold and evil as his anger blazed. He didn't know that the more Yang Tian Emperor was pushed, the more intimidating power he could erupt with. In Shi Yan's eyes, Yang Tian Emperor had consumed all of his flesh and blood, which indicated he had been strenuous to the acme. He was pushed until he went insane. Comoros and Cassidy arrived here to show him that they wanted to clear the Dark Devil clan. They also wanted to kill him, their master. To ensure the result, they had even invited the hotshot of the Dark Spirit clan. They wanted to capture them all at once. If Fiery Dragon and Bloodmaned hadn't supported them, even if Yang Tian Emperor had burst out his energy of desperation, they wouldn't have been able to endure it. Perhaps they all would have already died. Shi Yan's face was cold and dark. His lips curled into a freezing smile as dazzling starlight suddenly shot out from his eyes. The Big Dipper bow created by the star power was drawn. Star dots started to congeal on an arrow before it shot out furiously. Star fall of the Big Dipper god arrow. This arrow was connected tightly with the stars from 9 skies. Stars in the sky all twinkled, overwhelming even the bright moon. Star dots fell like a heavy rain over their heads. Starlight condensed in the sky, turning into the fist-sized stars. They all carried an imposing star energy, moving according to the trajectory Shi Yan had in his mind, as they rumblingly bombarded Heaven Temple's warriors. Warriors of the Heaven Temple that came here this time didn't have high realms. Their realms were lower than the spirit realm. No matter how hard they tried to dodge, they couldn't avoid the star bombardment of the starfall. Starlight glowed on them as their living fluctuation faded away and their aura disappeared. Warriors who had the spirit realm had more falling stars aimed at them. All of a sudden, they found themselves confined in a star barrier. They couldn't move, and their consciousness became hazy. Right at this moment, Shi Yan aimed his arrow and shot it. The Big Dipper arrow shot out like the meteor chasing after the moon. Many meteors shot out from the Big Dipper bow at the same time, darting rapidly as if they could pierce through space, thrusting through the flesh bodies of those Heaven Temple's warriors. Puff, puff! Blood splashed as the Heaven Temple's warriors had their bodies tattered. Even Qiuhong, who could see the martial technique beforehand, couldn't gather his luck to escape. 3 meteors shot at his legs, breaking his bones. War Devil seized the chance and covered the man with its dark halo. Then it fiercely attacked him. Dishan and Li Zhengrong took the opportunity when the Heaven Temple's warriors were disorderly panic-stricken to harvest their lives one by one. A magical black ball emerged from Shi Yan's palm. Just like a wandering spirit, it moved around the dead warriors and collected their souls. While entangling in the battle with Fiery Dragon, Comoros saw the Heaven Temple's warriors die. He was shaken, as he wanted to throw the written charm scripture there, so as it could absorb the souls. However, right after that, he saw the soul-gathering pearl had taken all the souls. Comoros felt a chunk of blood stuck in his throat. He was so indignant that he wanted to shout and die. He wanted to trouble Shi Yan. The reasons he wanted to kill the Dark Devil clan, besides the humiliation, was because he wanted to collect souls through slaughtering. This would supply the energy to help their patriarch awaken. Seeing Shi Yan using the soul-gathering pearl to snatch the souls of the dead warriors before they vanished, he was enraged. Shi Yan! Jimu and Yu Ying suddenly cried, their faces frightened. Shi Yan glared at them with an indifferent countenance. What? Are you crazy? Yu Ying's eyes filled with worries. Do you know what you are doing? If you do that, even the cult master can't protect you. You've turned your back to the 7 ancient factions. Qin Guchuan of the Heaven Temple would never spare your life. He will stimulate the other ancient factions to kill you, your friends, and your family. Yu Ying came here this time to deliver Yun Hao's message to Shi Yan, asking them to visit the secret domain, where they would have a thorough discussion to see if they could find a solution to bring the Yang family to the ice and fire secret domain. Yun Hao had such a risky plan because he appreciated Shi Yan and wanted to gather the force of the Yang family. He had tried his best to carry out this plan. As far as he was concerned, the alien tribes were raging here and there. If Shi Yan's team stayed outside, they would be all dead sooner or later. It would be better if they could go to the secret domain and join their force to fight against the hotshots of the pagan clans. Jimu and Yu Ying came here with goodwill. However, they found that Shi Yan wanted to kill the warriors of the Heaven Temple. Once this affair was revealed, Shi Yan would never have a chance to be with the 7 ancient factions. Yes, I'm about to get crazy. Shi Yan looked calm. I'm not going to bring my men to the ice and fire secret domain. I don't want to see us as the fish in the fish tank who will never have a chance to escape. About the other stuff, I even killed Chu Baiqing, let alone these guys. You killed him, indeed. Qiu Hong screeched. True. Shi Yan stood nonchalantly. Chu Baiqing's dead. Ning Du Quan's dead. You will be dead, too. You've killed my people. It's just tit for tat. People who come here today will not leave this place alive. All of you. I want to see how many warriors Heaven Temple can send here for me to kill continually. He continued to gather and condense the star energy as he knocked the arrows and shot them like a furious storm. He killed them one by one, except for Qiu Hong to prove his words. Ji Mu and Yu Ying were petrified. They were totally struck dumb. Chu Baiqing's death made them realize that Shi Yan was really crazy. Just like Yang Tian Emperor, he wanted a big fight at any cost. So, do we need to linger here? Ji Mu beamed a forced smile, looking at Yu Ying as he didn't know what to say in this situation. You guys shouldn't think about leaving this place either. Shi Yan's face became cold. Yu Ying discolored. She got enraged immediately. Shi Yan, you won't spare me, will you? I don't want to disclose things happened today. No one can leave. Shi Yan was indifferent. Before I get to know of the plans of the 7 ancient factions, you have to stay where I can see you. If you guys want to go without my permission, don't blame me for being impolite. Ji Mu and Yu Ying were indignant. Their faces grimaced. I have to be careful. Shi Yan was still calm. Ji Mu and Yu Ying couldn't shake him. I hope you will understand my worries. Going the same way with me at this moment isn't a bad thing to you guys. Di Shan, Old Li, watch them. Shi Yan let out a low shout. Then he contacted the war devil, using his soul to ask it to be more watchful. After that, his eyes turned garnet. Negative energy burst out from his body as pallid tentacles jutted out from his pores. He looked eccentric and evil. The Sky Destroyer Divine sword appeared in his palms, and the eyes on the sword opened. An evil, destructive energy fluctuation rippled, raking through every corner from him as its core. Qiu Hong's soul shivered. His mind perception, martial spirit, sent him an intimidating fear. He felt hopeless. Lock. Shi Yan's garnet eyes gazed at him, and then he roared suddenly. It was as if thunder reverberated in Qiu Hong's head. Blood dripped down from 7 holes in his face while he was shaking uncontrollably. Di Shan, War Devil, and Li Zhengrong seized the chance to attack him. Immediately, Qiu Hong's blood and flesh exploded. His soul was like a balloon that was blown too much and burst directly. Shi Yan pointed at Ji Mu and Yu Ying. Wait until the situation gets better. I won't maltreat you. If you still want to leave, don't blame me for being merciless. Then he held the Sky Destroyer Divine sword, with the 3 snow-white bone thorns in his sleeves, and walked to Comoros while the pale tentacles were wiggling around his body. The soul gathering pearl floated behind him. It was dragging Chiu Hong's soul into the bead. Essence chi of Chiu Hong's group turned into invisible energy that naked eyes couldn't observe. They were flying from everywhere and connecting with the tentacles jutted out from his body, making his appearance more evil and frightening. Chapter 638. Negative Field. Chapter 638. Negative Field. None of the Heaven Temple's warriors, including Chiu Hong, escaped death. Under Shi Yan, Di Shan, and Li Zhangrong's slaughter, they were all dead bodies now. Ji Mu and Yu Ying were indignant. They wanted to fight with Shi Yan, but when they witnessed Chiu Hong getting killed easily, they felt a chill in their hearts. The energy they had accumulated discreetly slipped away. It wasn't that they were scared, but they didn't want to see both sides bear losses, and they didn't want to cause grudge against Shi Yan. In their eyes, Shi Yan was crazy at this moment. He didn't have his cognition with him now. Facing with him under such circumstances wasn't a wise move. They wanted to wait until Shi Yan restored his calmness to discuss again. Ji Mu and Yu Ying didn't move, waiting at their spots in silence. Their eyes were bright, looking at Shi Yan without blinking. They didn't care about the gazes that came from Di Shan, Li Zhangrong, and War Devil. Shi Yan had told them his ideas. As long as they didn't hasten and act rashly, they didn't need to worry about being oppressed. Di Shan and Li Zhangrong trusted Shi Yan completely, and they would always follow his words. Ji Mu and Yu Ying observed Shi Yan's demonic appearance as fear and surprise arose from deep inside their eyes. The pale, finger-sized tentacles covered his entire body, condensed from the negative energy between 1 to 3 meters long. Looking at him from a far distance, Shi Yan didn't look like a human anymore. He now appeared as a beast or demon that frightened people. Yu Ying and Ji Mu could see that those tentacles weren't real. They were just condensed energy. However, each tentacle was releasing terrifying soul fluctuations. Even on standing a couple 100 meters from him, Yu Ying and Ji Mu seemed to be affected. The desires in their hearts were stirred up, generating negative moods. They were petrified, although they knew Shi Yan didn't aim at them, as he didn't treat them his enemy. The ones Shi Yan considered his enemies were Komaros, Cassidy, and Ivision. His surging soul fluctuation from the tentacles only aimed for those three. A magical soul field was created by the pallid tentacles, turning them into soul ribbons, tying Komaros, Cassidy, and Ivision. A negative, chaotic aura surged from Shi Yan like a rising tide. The negative moods rumblingly covered the three of them, as if they were submerged in the deep ocean. However, this mood just stayed for 3 seconds. Afterward, from deep inside their eyes, the feeble light of desires flashed. A kind of energy that could distort the sea of consciousness filled the space around Shi Yan. The tentacles emerged from his acupuncture points, constantly released the negative moods, creating a magical negative field, which affected all kinds of creatures around him. Fiery Dragon and Bloodmaned were also affected. The desires hiding in their inner world rose. Their minds were occupied as they had entered the bloodthirsty state, the basic instinct of the monster clan. Yang Tian Emperor was also affected. He had already fallen into insanity. Under the effect of the negative field, his aura rocketed. Desperation filled his eyes, but his power increased one more time. Waves of blood sea rose and splashed one after another, striking on Cassidy. Cassidy felt his chest heavy and pressed, as blood trickled from the corners of his mouth uncontrollably. The blood wheel on Yang Tian Emperor's hand shimmered with a bizarre red halo covering half the sky. It even dyed the horizon blood red, and Cassidy sank in it gradually. Holding the Sky Destroyer Divine sword in his hand, Shi Yan, at the third sky of Spirit Realm, could feel the magical effect of the negative energy deeply. He was still calm in the negative field. He gathered and poured the negative energy more into the sword, as more blood, red eyes opened one by one on the sword. The garnet pupils were like tongues of beasts, releasing an evil bloodlight that illuminated the whole area. A destructive intent domain emerged from the sword blade, expanding everywhere. Big trees shriveled, luxuriant green foliage yellowed and died, and insects stopped singing from deep underground. It seemed their life was reaped instantly. Shi Yin closed his eyes, adding the intent domain he had comprehended into the sky, destroyer divine sword. The death intent domain became a place to slaughter, gradually pushing forward. At the same time, another vital soul thought of his shot towards fiery dragon and blood-maned. His soul thought gave back the vitality to fiery dragon and blood-maned, which saved them from the effects of the death intent domain. Also, it helped Yang Tian Emperor promote his strength better. Shi Yan's death intent domain overflowed into the Sky Destroyer. A tranquil, sluggish thought started to transgress the area, while the foliage on its way had its life sucked away. Jimu and Yu Ying kept observing silently. They looked at the 1,000-year-old trees wither rapidly, as if they had been dead years ago. The luxuriant grass turned yellow, dried, and finally turned into dark fertilizer for the soil. The singing of insects disappeared instantly. These signs outlined the space in front of Shi Yan, which was wrecked by the formidable, endless, destructive intent domain. Jimu and Yu Ying couldn't stand the sight. Their eyes changed in fright. Eventually, they realized that if Shi Yan wanted to kill them, it wouldn't be a difficult task. Different from the brutal and crazy Yang Tian Emperor, Shi Yan's attack didn't multiply or thunder. It was strangely quiet, but this quietness gave people a fierce anxiety. It was like the death embracing the earth. Shi Yan's attack was like a calm stream with his intent domain as the pioneer, followed by his powers, which carried some meanings of death and destruction in this world. His attack had seized the minds of the 3 true God realm warriors, Comoros, Cassidy, and Ivision. They couldn't maintain their sound mind anymore. The furious fiery dragon and blood-maned were calmed down by his vital soul light. The 2 hotshots of the monster clan looked at the situation around them, staying silent. Yang Tian Emperor was the only warrior who wasn't affected much. He was still bombarding Cassidy. With the blood wheel in his hand, he looked like a bloody-skinned man. Everybody would shiver at the first at him. Cassidy had lost his mind. He forgot to use the advanced soul of the Ghost Mark clan while wrestling with Yang Tian Emperor. They were entangling with each other in close combat. With only one glance, Shi Yan knew Cassidy was over. Yang Tian Emperor would crush him fiercely. Shi Yan had experienced the bursting power of the Yang family's immortal martial spirit in close combat. Yang Tian Emperor's immortal martial spirit had a high level. As long as he hadn't burned all of his immortal blood, he could have an undying body. Only someone who had mental problems would want to fight face to face with him. Cassidy was that sort of a person. Help me kill that hotshot of the Dark Spirit clan. Shi Yan was calm. His eyes were like the tranquil water in the well as he talked to Fiery Dragon and Blood-maned. Kill him. We all gain benefits. Fiery Dragon and Blood-maned were hesitant. At this moment, they couldn't decide. They exchanged looks and used the distinctive body gestures of Monster Clan to communicate. They were from the Monster Clan, one of the alien tribes. Cooperating with Shi Yan had violated their rules already. If they joined Shi Yan and killed the members of the Ghost Mark clan and the Dark Spirit clan, once it was exposed, the consequence would be like Shi Yan's. The 7 ancient factions would reject them. They would become the crooked traitors of the Monster Clan. They had shouted, telling Comoros and Ivision to wait and see their deadly powers. However, at this point, they were hesitant. Shi Yan frowned as he changed his mind. His eyes gave people an ancient, torrential aura. The Big Dipper bow was created one more time. He touched his chest as countless star dots gushed out, turning into clusters of light which were as big as a finger, and shot forward thunderously. This attack seemed to provoke the stars in the sky again. Abundant starlight above their heads showered like the water of the Milky Way. Starlight poured into the clusters of star dots, turning into the sharp star arrow, covering all members of the Ghost Mark clan who Comoros had led to this place. He closed his eyes, and when he opened them again, they were blood red. Flows of negative energy diffused from the tentacles on his body. At that moment, Shi Yan's evil aura rocketed. Shortly after 3 breaths, his aura had surpassed Yang Tian Emperor. Third sky of Rampage Realm. Shi Yan's eyes were tranquil. They didn't carry any emotions a human should have. He looked like an evil, ancient creature from the foreign land, arrogantly looking at the creatures under his eyes, as if he had the control of death in his eyes. Essence chi from Chiu Hong and the warriors of the Heaven Temple had entered his body through the tentacles, stimulating his negative energy to the acme, making him evil and brutal. When he had entered the third sky of Rampage Realm the second time, the bursting energy he could urge now was intimidatingly formidable, something he had never experienced before. When it fused with his chi and the energy in his muscles, the combination had made the power he could control surpass Yang Tian Emperor. His eyes weren't wild and stubborn anymore. At this moment, they were so cold that they could chill people's hearts. He clutched the Sky Destroyer Divine sword, walking deliberately. Occasionally, he swung his arm once. No blood light was generated from his hand movement. However, one of the Ghost Mark clan's warriors exploded on the spot. Pieces of flesh scattered everywhere. Many warriors who came here with Comoros had the Spirit Realm cultivation base. However, after each move of Shi Yan, they were like they had been tied tightly, unable to even wiggle. If someone scrutinized the scene, they would see the tentacles of his entire body jiggle furiously, as if they were capturing something. Only Shi Yan knew what the tentacles were coiling. It was the soul of the warrior. Although the Ghost Mark clan was well known for their soul ability, they couldn't avoid the negative energy tentacles. Even if they stood 1,000 meters away, their souls would still be seized. It seemed those tentacles could appear directly in their sea of consciousness. They were bizarre and malicious indeed. Shi Yan took each step nonchalantly. People present there then saw the Ghost Mark clan's hotshot, who was 1,000 meters away from him, explode. Afterward, the soul-gathering pearl would snatch their souls all, while Shi Yan's tentacles collected their essence chi. Shi Yan was now a devil walking on earth, which could easily take lives of any creatures, snatching their rights to be alive. Chapter 639, Repercussion. Chapter 639, Repercussion. Shi Yan's negative field affected Comoros, Cassidy, and Ivision, the 3 true god realm warriors of the pagan tribes. Their minds were blurry, which subdued their energy altogether. These 3 true god realm warriors of the alien tribes had been worn out over 10,000 years. Their power had been damaged badly, or perhaps they were hurt before, and were yet to recover fully. Comoros' team had high realms, but the energy accumulated in their bodies was far behind the human experts of the same realm, such as Yun Hao or Qin Guchuan. Without the support from Bao Ao and experts of the Corpse Clan, the Ghost Mark clan in the shady firmament Old Mound could never destroy the entire spirit treasure sect. With insufficient energy, they couldn't bring out their competence well. Of course, they couldn't show the ability of their realms. Comoros had the cultivation base at the third sky of True God Realm, but he got the most wounded body that year, and he hadn't recovered fully until now. At most, he could endure a fight with Yun Hao, but he would fall in a disadvantaged situation for sure. Cassidy and Ivision were at the second sky of True God Realm, but their real competence was only equal to Chu Baiqing. Otherwise, Fiery Dragon and Bloodmane wouldn't have been able to subdue them. The Dark Spirit clan and the Ghostmark clan were the strong tribes in the Antiquity time. If they had restored their powers to their peak, Yang Tian Emperor, Fiery Dragon, and Bloodmane would have never been their opponents. Sure, Yen walked calmly in the void. Ash-gray smoke moved around him, as thick as the steam above the lake. He surprised people a lot. Comoros, Cassidy, and Ivision had their minds occupied by the negative field, which made them forget to use the fighting method they understood the best. They were instinctively urging the energy in their bodies to counter, which wasn't a good move. Ghostmark clan's members fell and exploded one by one along with Shuriyan's steps. Their essence, chi, and souls were absorbed completely by him. Ah! A desperate, mournful roar came out from the mouth of the last warrior of the Ghostmark clan at First Sky of Spirit Realm. His voice was like a sharp weapon that could shake people's hearts. Comoros was baffled. A strange light sparkled in his sleeve all of a sudden. The written charm scripture flew out, releasing an immense gray mist, covering Cassidy, Comoros, and Ivision altogether. Comoros almost awakened instantly, his eyes clear and calm. As soon as he woke up, he found all of his clansmen accompanying him had exploded to death. They were just pieces of meat and blood puddles now. Comoros's eyes reddened instantly. Earth Spirit Bind. He let out a low cry that was almost inaudible. The sound wave from his mouth stormed into the written charm scripture. Numerous eccentric ghost scripture on the written charm scripture started to move. Mysterious chi overflowed from the scripture, blending with Comoros's energy. Flows of soul energy also reached Comoros's sea of consciousness. A strange, invisible aura diffused from Comoros. His reddened eyes became clear again. He held the written charm scripture, moving his hands to form some hand seals while continually muttering something under his breath. Yang Tian Emperor was attacking Cassidy furiously. All of a sudden, his bloody body trembled, as fine cracks appeared on his blood-red armor. Numerous ghost symbols of the written charm scripture flew up to the sky, arraying a magical word formation. It was like the writing of some mysterious technique that furiously absorbed the energy of heaven and earth, converting it into chi. Countless 5-colored ghost writings appeared in the sky from thin air, interweaving with each other and creating the seal of an ancient barrier. A strange, invisible energy was generated. Even though they couldn't see the attack or impact, the armor covering Yang Tian Emperor's chest cracked at a speed naked eyes could observe. It seemed ready to explode shortly. Yang Tian Emperor was sinking in his slaughtering, but he suddenly awakened. His bloody body shook violently. Although Comoros's power had been decreased dramatically compared to his peak state, he was still a true god realm expert. This time, he was determined to use the accumulated energy of the written charm scripture to make up for his energy shortage. Eventually, he could use the power that he could bring out when he was at his peak state. Fiery Dragon and Bloodmane were impacted. Blood splashed from their giant bodies. Those Ghostmark clans symbols seemed to cut them too. The 2 experts of the monster clan screeched. They hastened to shrink their bodies, transforming to human form to minimize the impact. Comoros stooped with a cold face while his hands were constantly making hand seals, pouring into the written charm scripture. The written charm scripture sparkled, releasing so many magical symbols dancing in the air. They arrayed a strange ghost scripture formation, creating a terrifying restraining and cutting energy. Yang Tian Emperor couldn't move anymore. He halted in the void as pain transgressed over his entire body like a surging tide. Fiery Dragon and Bloodmane didn't dare to act recklessly. They used the rigid body of the monster clan to resist. Their blood and flesh mixed, bringing an extreme pain that they'd rather die than endure. Just like them, Yen was affected, his body cut by some invisible threads. However, unlike Tian Emperor, Fiery Dragon, and Bloodmaned, he didn't scream in pain. He just frowned and stayed calm as usual. The others didn't know when his body started to glow with a golden halo. At first glance, he looked like a freak that was molded from pure gold. After that, the invisible ghost scripture formation couldn't cut through his body. He suddenly got it, as he finally recognized the effects of the golden marrow of the golden giant, which had promoted its effects in his body. This kind of defense was unbreakable, even dissolving Kamaros's mysterious attack. Seeing Yang Tian Emperor, Fiery Dragon, and Bloodmaned unable to resist the formation anymore, Yen contemplated and then touched his chest. The star original essence he had absorbed into his heart looked like the most glorious big diamond as it flew out under the star powers driving and struck towards Kamaros. The boundless sky where stars shone dazzlingly seemed to expand further. A downpour of starlight from the sky looked like a big river pouring into the star original essence. Yen was struggling, using his soul to manipulate the star original essence as it approached closer to Kamaros. Just like ranges of mountains collapsing at the same time, the small star original essence bloomed out a formidable pressure, which made Kamaros pale in fear. The star original essence was the intrinsic nature of the stars in the sky. It was much heavier than it looked. A fist-sized star original essence could be heavier than 10 mountains. Under such pressure, Kamaros couldn't hold his fort. Crack, crack, crack. The star original essence was pressing to the point that even space was about to crack. The cracking sounds echoed in the void, making people's hearts shiver. The mountain-like pressure covered the entire space. Even the true God realm warriors like Cassidy felt his body getting unusually heavy, his soul stagnant. Kamaros mused on the star original essence, then quickly urged his energy to counter. Ultimately, he couldn't stand it anymore, retreating the ghost symbols in the sky into the written charm scripture. He was struggling hard to stand still. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. 3 snow-white bone thorns glided through space and appeared simultaneously behind Kamaros, Cassidy, and Ivision, stabbing them violently. Puff, puff, puff. 3 bone thorns were refined from the bones of the level 10 beast. They attacked the 3 aliens from their backs, but 2 of them couldn't pierce through Kamaros and Ivision. However, blood gushed out from their mouths. Cassidy's situation was the most pitiful. A bone thorn pierced through his chest from his back. His heart was torn, and his life was sliding away from him. Cassidy couldn't endure any more. Kamaros's face grimaced. He roared and crazily shouted as he was about to strike a fatal attack. Fiery Dragon and Bloodmaned stormed over with their bloody bodies. Their ferocious instinct had been stimulated. They wanted to pull Kamaros and kill him. Go! Ivision shouted. Kamaros was struck. He swung the written charm scripture in his hand to collect Cassidy's god soul. Then he urged the written charm scripture the second time to pull Ivision into the scripture too. A marvelous wave of energy shot out from the written charm scripture. Kamaros and Ivision shrank rapidly inside that energy wave as countless dazzling beams interweaved in layers of space next to them. The others then saw their bodies shrink until they were as big as a light dot. They then disappeared into thin air like dust. Fiery Dragon and Bloodmaned swarmed over, but they found that Kamaros and Ivision had disappeared completely. They left nothing behind, not even a wave of soul energy. Lying in that place was only the body of Cassidy, which was pierced through. His god soul had been collected and kept in the written charm scripture. The written charm scripture was the halidom of the Ghost Mark clan at the Divine Grade. Kamaros using the scripture to escape in just a blink was something Yan's team had never thought about, and they could only watch the others leave. Damn the Ghostmark clan! Fiery Dragon roared indignantly, while blood still dripped from his body. He has given me bad wounds. I'm so unlucky. Bloodmaned also had so many open cuts on his body. Even the steel-like bodies of the monster clan couldn't endure Komaros's furious attack. Yang Tian Emperor's eyes restored their natural look. In the other's eyes, he was just a bloody skeleton. Without blood and flesh, he looked pitiful and scary at the same time. At first glance, Shi Yan understood that Yang Tian Emperor was hurt badly. Even if he could receive treatment timely, he couldn't recover in just a short time. Burning his god blood and his own flesh and blood to urge all the potential power of his body, Yang Tian Emperor had burst out a formidable power. However, it was beyond his endurance, and Komaros had attacked him, cracking his armor. Di Shan, Li Zhengrong, Ji Mu, and Yu Ying were hiding at a far distance and observing the situation. At this moment, they finally got the guts to step over, looking at Yang Tian Emperor with a frightened but respectful expression. "How are you?" Shi Yan moved, walking towards Yang Tian Emperor. He asked while taking in the essence, Qi, from Cassidy. "I got hurt badly and I can't recover in a short time." Yang Tian Emperor's voice seemed to sound from his throat, which was really bizarre. However, after this fight, my understanding of the power of desperation has reached a whole new world. If nothing unexpected happens, when I'm healed, my realm will increase too. Shi Yan was struck with joy as a light flashed across his head. "Great-grandpa, don't worry. I'll make you recover fast, really fast." Chapter 640, Demon Clan? God Clan? Chapter 640, Demon Clan? God Clan. The area by the lake became quiet again. Fiery Dragon and Bloodmane transformed into their beast shape, balling their bodies near the lake to heal themselves in silence. The two level 9 hotshots were using the secret techniques of the Demon Clan to gather heaven and earth's spiritual chi. Di Shan, Li Zhengrong, Yu Ying, and Ji Mu, the 4 spirit realm warriors, kept silent, but many thoughts were moving in their heads. Shi Yan was standing next to Yang Tian Emperor. Yang Tian Emperor was now a bloody skeleton. After his insanity had subsided, he was exhausted. The ferocious, wild aura he possessed had settled. From deep inside his eyes, people could see that he was fatigued. Shi Yan sat neatly. His face was indifferent, his eyes slightly squinted. The tentacles jutting out from his acupuncture points had retreated. They were shaking inside his acupuncture points to filter the energy. Trying to press down the craziness in his heart, he sent his thought to the star original essence, using its power to clear his mind and purify his soul. This way, he could keep himself safe from the negative energy's side effects. He had used the star original essence to understand the star power. His star martial spirit had a new breakthrough, which promoted his realm to the 3rd sky of spirit realm. As he had many boosts, when he entered the 3rd sky of spirit realm, he could bring out the power of a true god realm warrior, which helped him seize the upper hand while fighting with Komaros. Feeling the energies in his body calm down, Shi Yan used his soul consciousness to sense and saw his unbreakable golden skeleton. The golden marrow of the golden giant's bones had improved his body's durability to another level. Now it was inconceivably rigid. His petrification martial spirit had obviously surpassed the barrier that the Shi family had always encountered. After the second breakthrough, even Shi Jian couldn't imagine his situation at this moment. Thanks to all sorts of fortuitous encounters, he had been able to resist Komaro's attack with a body that would never be broken. He could also stabilize his mind and attack Komaros, making him run away in fear. Today he had the cultivation base at the 3rd sky of spirit realm and an incomparable body. His negative energy was tremendous. He had a new breakthrough in his martial spirits, along with the undying body of the Yang family. The combination of these miraculous abilities gave him the foundation to deal with higher realm warriors. Quieting down his emotions, Shi Yan used the mysterious martial spirit he had gotten the first to refine the essence qi that he had absorbed. The negative emotions generated from this process were pressed down by his brave and persistent will. As he felt the torrential storms in his acupuncture points, he calmed his mind and emptied it. After an unknown period, he woke up, putting 2 hands on Yang Tian Emperor all of a sudden. Yang Tian Emperor's bloody body was shaken, while a divine light bloomed out from his eyes. He couldn't help but let out a low shout. "Little Yen, you can't." Yang Tian Emperor could feel a mysterious energy from Shi Yan's palms. This energy quickly merged with his essence qi and combined with his blood, bringing formidable energy fluctuations to help him condense the immortal blood once again. This massive energy was rolling into Yang Tian Emperor's body, making him feel as if his body was soaked in a hot spring. It was so comfortable that he almost groaned. However, he shortly restrained his joy as he thought that if he absorbed this energy, Shi Yan would have to consume his own energy massively. Thus, he didn't want to take it in, and even wanted to stop receiving it unilaterally. "Don't move," Shi Yan shouted, talking in a serious tone. "Great-grandpa, I don't need this energy. If I want it, I can always obtain it quite easily. I have a magical martial spirit which helps me not to worry about lacking energy forever." Having heard him, Yang Tian Emperor's bloody skeleton trembled. Although Shi Yan didn't say it clearly, Yang Tian Emperor could understand the hidden meaning in his words. He would never have to worry about lacking energy. How dangerous it was to go against the natural order like that. He suddenly recognized why Shi Yan could progress that fast, entering the new realms before his estimated time. Apparently, it was related to the martial spirit Shi Yan had just mentioned. "You should take in this energy. It will be handy to your body now," Shi Yan continued to mutter. "I don't need it now. Even if I need it, it's as easy as a piece of cake to obtain it again." Yang Tian Emperor contemplated for a while and then received the energy from him with joy. Shi Yan suddenly felt the power he had been pouring into Yang Tian Emperor's body flow smoothly. He knew Yang Tian Emperor agreed to receive it. Soon, the mysterious energy, refined by his acupuncture points, all poured into Yang Tian Emperor's body. Yang Tian Emperor started to condense the immortal blood again. Next, he used his immortal blood to perform the immortal rebirth secret of the Yang family to grow his flesh again, connecting his broken vessels and tendons. After 4 hours, Yang Tian Emperor had become a lively human again from a bloody skeleton. Dishan, Li Zhengrong, Yu Ying, and Ji Mu stood not far from them. They all gawked in fear, but didn't know what to say. Yang Tian Emperor had used the immortal martial spirit of the Yang family to its peak ability. He had used the immortal blood to grow his flesh again. This miracle was beyond their knowledge. Only Shi Yan knew that after each time their bodies were annealed by the immortal rebirth secret, they would surpass the tenacious level of the previous bodies, which would facilitate the growth of their powers. After each time of rebirth, their bodies would change completely. When Yang Tian Emperor recovered, the tenacity of his body leaped up by a big part compared to the previous one. Moreover, Yang Tian Emperor had also broken through to the 3rd sky of spirit realm after this event. "I want to stay quiet for a little bit." After Yang Tian Emperor had recovered his body, he uttered simply while joy could be seen on his face. Shi Yan reacted immediately and used Earth Flame to create the passage leading to the bottom of the lake. He brought Yang Tian Emperor there, followed by Dishan and Li Zhengrong. Now, Shi Yan, Fiery Dragon, Bloodmaned, and Yu Ying, Ji Mu, who came from the Ice and Fire secret domain, were standing by the lake now. "You guys stay here. When the time comes, I will let you leave." Shi Yan glared at the other two, talking to them faintly. "Don't worry, I won't mistreat you." Not long afterward, You will figure out that being with me was a wise decision. Boy, you are so naughty. Generous laughter arose from a far distance. Blood-maned and Fiery Dragon were trying to restore fast, jolting up with a solemn expression. A halo appeared in front of Shi Yan, gradually turning into a good-looking, middle-aged man. He was smiling warmly. Master. Jimu and Yu Ying bent down to greet him. Shi Yan kept quiet for a while, then also bent and greeted him. Master, thanks for protecting the Yang family. I will always keep your favor in mind. You remember my favor, but you treat my elders like that? Yun Hao shook his head with an odd face. Jimu and Yu Ying came here to bring you to the ice and fire secret domain. The pagans are raging outside. Eventually they would kill you all. Harumph. Blood-maned disagreed. We are living in good harmony with Shi Yan. Why do we need to harm him? Only you cunning humans could have many wild schemes. You guys always attack your own fellows. Yun Hao felt funny. It's really me who does things in vain. I didn't think that you would stay with the pagans. Sigh, it was my one-sided thought, I guess. Jimu and Yu Ying frowned. They had witnessed the dangerous interaction between Shi Yan and the alien tribes. They didn't know what to say. I will keep your good thought in mind. Shi Yan was honest and respectful while talking with Yun Hao. But I don't want to go to the ice and fire secret domain. I've killed many people of the 7 ancient factions. I can't stay with them. I know my situation isn't good either. Sooner or later, the 7 ancient factions will aim at me. I just want to survive. No matter what I have to do, as long as I can stay in the perpetual night forest, I don't care whether my partners are pagans or not. Yun Hao was surprised. He hesitated for a while and then said, when you do that, you will never have a chance to be accepted by human clan. At least members of the 7 ancient factions will never approve your operations. If you do so, you will stand on the opposite side to us. I understand, Shi Yan smiled begrudgingly. I can't destroy the Dark Devil clan and the Winged clan. The relationship between the alien tribes and me is deep, and the current situation isn't something I want to see. The 7 ancient factions are pushing us. I just do my best to protect myself. Who says Shi Yan is a human? At this moment, Blood-maned screamed from the other side. He has the bloodline of alien tribes. Otherwise, he wouldn't be like that. You, human clan, has your bloodline mixed with other tribes. You are not pure, Without blending with our alien tribe's bloodline. You low humans, how could you grow that fast? You always say pagans and aliens. How clean do you think you are? I don't know about the others, but the headmaster of the Yang family should have an alien bloodline. His tremendous recovery ability is something only the alien tribes can have. You, human clan, will never have such innate ability. Fiery Dragon suddenly mocked. If you hadn't mixed with our bloodline, the human clan would have been annihilated in the antiquity epic. How could you slowly rebel that way? Harumph. The reason why humans can thrive fast is because of snatching and robbing. You've robbed spiritual chi, precious materials, the properties of different clans. You are the corrupted insects of this continent. The other tribes agree with this statement, Blood-maned groaned. Yun Hao was muted by the words of the 2 experts of the monster clan. Shi Yan was startled too. He frowned, looking at Fiery Dragon with a dull face. You say there's alien tribe bloodline in my great-grandpa's body. Absolutely. Fiery Dragon confirmed resolutely. Human clan has never had such a vigorous recovery ability. In the antiquity time, there were only 2 clans which had such ability. Which ones? Shi Yan asked with astonishment. The Demon Clan, Fiery Dragon answered seriously. He paused for a while, then continued gingerly, or the God Clan. Chapter 641. Parting Ways. Chapter 641, Parting Ways. The God clan was one of the 10 antiquity clans, the strongest one. Whenever members of the other clans got their inheritance, they would also receive the secrets. Then, they would try to avoid mentioning this clan. This clan seemed to be the forbidden word, which could tremble the other hotshots of the alien tribes. According to the legends from different clans, the first clan that ever existed on this continent was the God clan. They seemed to be the favored, kind of the Almighty in heaven. From the day they were born, they were destined to be the lord of this place with endless powers. During a very long period, the God clan was the real leader of the other tribes. It was the leader who ruled the 10 tribes, controlling the entire continent. But all that changed one day when the other 9 tribes united and banished the God clan, this powerful clan. Thus, the strongest clan of this epoch disappeared. Many other clans told the legend of this clan. They told the tale that when the 9 tribes joined hands and dealt with the God clan, this clan had run away, leaving the Grace mainland, going to the universe. They had never appeared in the Grace mainland ever since. There were many tales about the God clan. However, when the pagan tribes talked about the God clan, there were always some similar stories about how strong their supernatural powers were. The 9 clans had pushed this clan away from the Grace mainland, but no tribe dared to say they had the triumph over this clan. When Fiery Dragon mentioned the clan, he was a little bit uneasy. He didn't dare to talk clearly. The God clan was the strongest clan in the antiquity time. Every tribe recognized them. If the God clan were still on this continent, they would be our masters as before. Shi Yen was dumbstruck. Later on, he shook his head with a forced smile. It's okay. No matter it's the bloodline of the demon clan or the God clan, it's no different to me. I don't care what tribe it is. Whoever helps me will be my friend, and whoever troubles me will be my enemy, no matter which race it is. Bloodmaned really liked his attitude. He laughed evilly and then shouted, "Don't worry. We Monster Clan will be your friends. Being abandoned by the Human Clan isn't something so terrible. Human Clan will be cleared up anyway." Yun Hao's face grimaced. "I'm not going to the Ice and Fire secret domain, but I always keep your favor in my heart." Shi Yen sighed, shaking his head. "If Cult Master is here, Jimu and Yuing can leave with you. I just hope that we wouldn't meet again on the battlefield." Yun Hao was struck. He slammed his eyebrows together as if he was thinking about the best result that could be obtained. "You should be careful. If you don't go to the Ice and Fire secret domain this time, I'm afraid you won't have any chance later." He pondered for a while and then said with worry, "Even if nothing happened today, the 7 ancient factions would notice. I think some people have started their stealthy operation, right?" Shi Yen harumphed and nodded. "It's true. After they got out of the secret domain, they attacked my people not just once. If they didn't push us, I wouldn't treat them that way." "You should solve it," Yunhao sighed. "The girl you said, Xia Xianyan, she isn't an ordinary girl. She has entered the true God realm and has condensed the God soul. Soon, she will be one of our sharpest weapons." Shi Yan's eyes brightened. He kept silent for seconds and then cracked a smile. "Good then. I know she would reach this point. She's faster than me. Don't you feel lost?" Yun Hao felt strange. This means the gap between you two has been widened. Shi Yen just smiled but didn't answer him. "Yeah, and Lin Meng of the Pure Land has reached the 3rd sky of True God Realm. She seems to depend on that girl to break through again using some secret techniques." Yun Hao hesitated for a while. "If Lin Meng succeeds, we don't need to stay in the Ice and Fire secret domain anymore." Sure, Yen didn't react to his words. However, Fiery Dragon and Bloodmaned changed their countenance, screaming in fear. Lin Meng was the leader of the Pure Land. She had always wanted to kill the pagans. If she could break through to the King God realm, she would be the nightmare for the alien tribes. and the monster clan in the perpetual night forest would be the first target. Not that fast or easy. The failure rate is relatively high, though. Yun Hao frowned. Perhaps Lin Ming would fail. However, if Xia Xanyan could break through that fast, of course, she would reach the King God realm soon. Shi Yan, have you ever thought that in the future, you and that little girl would have to stand on two opposite sides? When the 7 ancient factions attacked the Yang family, did she show her attitude? Shi Yan sparkled, asking calmly. She has never shown up. The Pure Land has hidden her like a treasure. No one knows what attitude she has. Yun Hao shook his head. Anyway, you have to think about it. I think they will take action not long afterward. Shi Yan nodded while pondering. Please tell Bing Qing Tong of the Ice Emperor City that if she has time, please come and meet me. Yun Hao burst out into a strange laughter and then nodded at him. Take care. I will always memorize your favor, cult master, said Shi Yan sincerely. Yun Hao wore a regretful countenance. He didn't advise the young man further, leaving with Ji Mu and Yu Ying to the ice and fire secret domain. This man's such a character. Bloodmane sighed in relief. I thought he wanted to attack us. I didn't expect that he came here to pick up his people. Shi Yan, when will we start? Wait until I get up here again. Oh, right. Where's the 5 elements crystal marrow? Here you go. Bloodmane spat out dozens of 5-colored crystal stones with an unwilling expression. These crystals were cyan, orange, red, yellow, green, and white. They looked like the most sparkling, precious gems, carrying the pure powers of 5 elements. Under the shining light of the sun, moon, and stars in the sky, they radiated with a beautiful, mesmerizing, dazzling halo. The 5 elements crystal marrow was the essence of the 5 elements power. They were the energy source of some profound ancient formations. It wasn't easy for Bloodmane to collect these crystals. He had planned to merge these crystals with his beast bead when he leveled up again. Apparently, he had played with his initial capital. Don't worry, I won't be unfair to you. Shi Yan swung his arm to take the crystal, stacking them in his storage ring. Wait until I get back. I will satisfy you guys. I won't let your effort slip away in vain. Then, Shi Yan flew up and sank into the lake, heading towards the Creator's divine pond directly. He urged the star martial spirit, using the star power to put the blood-maned back to the pond. When he comprehended the star power, he didn't consume all the energy of the star original essence. He had just watched and learned the process when a star was formed and ascended. In comprehending the mysteries of stars, he didn't encounter an energy shortage. He just needed to understand thoroughly. The star original essence recorded the meanings of the star's existence and its evolution, which he needed the most. He had sunk his soul into it to see the internal construction of a star. Now he knew why a small star could get tremendously bigger. He knew the secrets when a star absorbed the power of heaven to strengthen itself. Through this comprehension, he had used the star martial spirit to reach the 3rd sky of spirit realm. His star martial spirit had evolved, which accelerated the star power absorption speed 10 times faster. The star original essence slowly fell into the ancient formation. Shi Yan flickered his mind, releasing the 5 elements crystal marrow. Then he used his soul to manipulate the crystals, falling into the eye of the formation in a special rhythm. Shi Yan took out the life original fluid he had collected before and started to pour little by little into the center of the Creator's divine pond. It was moving distinctively, separating from the direction of the soul-washing divine water, floating in the critical location of the spiritual station in the Creator's divine pond. Magical hand seals flew out from his hands. Just like swimming fishes, they started to gather and readjust the scattering energy. Gradually, the Creator's divine pond released an immense halo. Countless top-grade essence crystals in the lake bottom seemed to be activated. Essence chi started to roll massively into the Creator's divine pond. Great-grandpa! At this moment, Shi Yan shouted. Divine light surged torrentially in his eyes. Yang Tian Emperor was awakened. He was surprised at first, but then he shook his head. It's a bit early for me. I've just reached the third sky of Spirit Realm, so I need time to improve it. Let Dishan go first. Sure, Yan didn't say anything for a while before nodding his head. Just like Yang Tian Emperor, he had reached the third sky of Spirit Realm. But he didn't want to enter the Creator's divine pond at this time, since he thought that his realm wasn't stable yet. It perhaps wasn't a right decision to get the true God realm rashly this way. He had thought that Yang Tian Emperor would be different. However, he had declined the opportunity to. He knew he too would be rushing if he did this. The pressure from the 7 ancient factions had always existed, and it was going to be more intense. Comoros had escaped alive. When he came back, he would be more formidable. Besides, there were other alien tribes, the Dark Spirit Clan and the Corpse Clan. They would arrive in the perpetual night forest sooner or later to fight with the 7 ancient factions face to face. He thought that the time was less, and it would take a long time to improve his powers. Compared to the 7 ancient factions and the alien tribes, he was small, and he couldn't influence the whole picture much, or be able to protect himself. So he had to enhance himself and the members of his team. The power Yang Tian Emperor had just shown everybody was much more than Dishan. That's why Shi Yan hoped to see Yang Tian Emperor as the first one entering the true God realm, which would give him more support. Dishan, you go first! As he realized he shouldn't be rushing, he exhaled and then nodded to Dishan. Dishan was struck. He jolted, his face excited. However, he looked nervous, standing in his spot as he didn't know what to do. How should I get in there? What should I do after I get in? Shi Yan chuckled. Don't be nervous. It's simple. You just need to fly to the spiritual station and land there. Then, you release your soul to enter the station. It will guide your soul. You just need to follow it. The Creator's divine pond was created by the strongest clans in antiquity time, which cost a lot of efforts for a complicated formation and countless materials. However, it was effortless to use. The instruction was as simple as what Shi Yan had said. Dishan was comforted. He gathered himself and flew up, heading towards the Creator's divine pond. Li Zhengrong and Yi Changfeng were looking at him with bright eyes. They didn't even blink, and their breathing was held. Old Li, after Dishan's done, it's your turn. Shi Yan contemplated for a while and then said, Your realm is enough, so you shouldn't worry. We have a big pressure at this moment. I want you to not go to the ice and fire secret domain for the time being after you've succeeded. I'm going the same way with you guys. Li Zhengrong agreed, resolutely without any hesitation. Sure, Yan beamed a faint smile and gently nodded to him. Chapter 642. Upgrade the whole body. Chapter 642. Upgrade the whole body. Dishan stood still on the station inside the Creator's divine pond, his eyes closed. There was no surging energy wave around him, and he looked as if he were sleeping. Glowing top-grade essence crystals in the lake bottom had been activated. A large amount of pure, glorious energy gathered, like gossamer, moving towards the Creator's divine pond. The floating station was like the brain of a human soul. It was a messy place where different kinds of energy were intertwining. Although bunches and beams of light were dazzling, they still made people feel peaceful. The refined soul power of the life original fluid and the soul washing divine water gradually overflowed Dishan's sea of consciousness. He sat still indifferently, while trying his best to absorb the energies into his sea of consciousness. He felt so comfortable, as if he were soaking in a warm stream. Each pore of his was relaxed. Shi Yan, Li Zhengrong, and Yi Changfeng were standing by the Creator's divine pond and observing. They were a little bit nervous, as they were afraid something unexpected would happen. The Creator's divine pond was a structure built in the antiquity time. Only the strongest clans could build it, since it cost countless materials and efforts. This divine pond had swallowed so many magical things to have such miraculous effects. Although Sher Yen was 100% sure, he couldn't confirm whether Dishan would succeed or not. The only thing he could confirm was that Dishan wouldn't endure many strenuous experiences. When the life original fluid and the soul washing divine water blended with each other, they turned into an ivory fluid, seeping into Dishan's head through 7 holes on his face. At this moment, Sher Yen couldn't help but exhale in relief. Dishan suddenly opened his eyes. From deep inside his pupils, people could vaguely see many light dots entangling with each other. It looked like the star movement to circulate energy in the Milky Way, a flow of energy emitted from his body, cheering up people in the surroundings. Dishan's sea of consciousness started to change slowly, beginning to follow the Creator's divine pond to rebuild. Each flow of his soul consciousness was refined to become the support when he condensed the God Soul. Sure, Yen suddenly turned to Li Zhengrong and Yi Changfeng, then smiled. He's entered the main track. As long as no one disturbs him, it will take 7 days max to create the God Soul. When Dishan gets the God Soul, he can leave the Creator's divine pond. After that, he just needs to adjust himself to the new realm. Oldly, when he gets out, you can get in there to break through your realm. I wish for you to enter the true God realm as soon as possible. Li Zhengrong was so joyful he couldn't stop laughing. His face looked like a blooming flower, as he was so excited he didn't know what to say. He had stayed in the spirit realm for dozens of years. As one of the leading alchemists in the Grace mainland, he understood the difference between the spirit realm and the true God realm more than anyone else. He knew what it meant when he had stepped into the true God realm. In the true God realm, the warriors had the God Soul, which was immortal unless it was attacked by some special treasures. Although his body was smashed, a true God realm expert could always escape the body or use a pregnant woman's womb to be reborn again in the shape of a baby. Alternatively, he could choose a young man with outstanding features and occupy his soul to thrive further. No matter which method the true God realm warrior chose, he could have another chance to reach his original realm one more time. If he decided to be reborn as a baby, he could have a better chance at understanding the deep meanings of power faster while trying to recover his power. This opportunity made the true God realm leap up a long step reasonably. He would find it easy to break through a minor realm. There were many second sky of true God realm experts who couldn't find the right chance to comprehend the Upanishad. That's why they couldn't break through to the third sky of true God realm. At such a stage, true God realm warriors with big guts and great desires would choose to be reborn as a child, so as to progress faster. It would take around 10 years to reach the second sky of true God realm, the realm of his previous body. Afterward, he could seize the chance to enter the third sky of true God realm. To the true God realm warriors, this was a stupid method to break through. However, it was almost 100% certain without any incident. Of course, most of the true God realm warriors had the absolute confidence in themselves, so they wouldn't dare to take risks and be reborn. Rebirth meant doing things all over again. If his enemy knew that, he would be killed before he had enough time to grow. You guys should watch here. I have to go out for a while. Wait until I come back. Old Li should be a true God realm expert already. Sure, Yen smiled as he was about to leave the lake bottom. Sure, Yen, the perpetual night forest isn't a safe place at this moment. Where do you want to go? Li Zhengrong frowned and asked. I've agreed with Fiery Dragon and Bloodmane to help them anneal their bodies and weapons. I have to keep my word. Sure, Yen glared at Yang Tian Emperor. I assume Bloodmane still has 5 elements crystal marrow, which is the requirement to maintain the Creator's divine pond. If I don't comfort blood-maned, and fiery dragon, we wouldn't have enough 5 elements crystal marrow. The next time, it would be hard to use the pawn to break through again. He had thought for Yang Tian Emperor, Yurua, and Yi Tian Mo. He wanted to use the divine pawn to make his people enter the true God realm quickly, as long as his people could increase their realms. Under the current circumstances, he could survive better and wouldn't need to struggle his life in the valley between the clans. You should take these pellets. Perhaps you'll need them soon, Li Zhangrong pondered. A storage ring flew out from his finger, falling into Shi Yan's palm. This ring stores many pellets I have refined dedicatedly. Although you don't need them, with these medicines, your people would have a bigger chance to survive. Receiving the storage ring, Shi Yan's soul consciousness flickered. He found that the ring contained almost 100 bottles, storing different kinds of medicines and pellets. Some could nurture the soul, and the others could promote the essence qi. There were some pellets which could enhance the warrior's physique and heal wounds faster. Li Zhangrong was a sacred grade alchemist, and he had spent his whole life to study and refine medicines. He was a peerless expert in the Grace mainland. The pellets he refined were treasures that the warriors always yearned for in the outside world. Shi Yan nodded continually to thank him, his face happy. While Di Shan is breaking through his realm, I'm going to refine some pellets. Yeah, when you return, I'll give them to you. Li Zhangrong smiled, then said, Seems we have to stay together. If you and your people become stronger, I can have more support. All right, if you see a qi, please take her with you. Where is she? The ice and fire secret domain. Li Zhangrong beamed a forced smile. Her realm is too low and her manners aren't good. As she isn't with us now, I'm afraid she might suffer in the ice and fire secret domain. Sigh, Chu Baiqing is dead. With Qin Guchuan's dark plan, when he deals with Yiqi, I'm afraid something bad would happen to her. Shi Yan's heart sank, but he nodded quietly. I'll try my best. Li Zhangrong didn't say anything else. Waves rippled on the quiet lake, and a bunch of fiery flames shot out. A figure appeared in the blaze. Blood-maned and fiery dragon were waiting for him. Seeing him, they smiled, storming forward to greet him. Shi Yan curled his lips into a smile, speaking faintly. As we have made a deal, it's time to make it up to you guys. From now on, I'm going to refine your bodies and forge your treasures. Of course, you have to prepare materials sufficiently. Ha ha ha, we've prepared already. As long as you want it, everything will be at your service. Blood-maned and fiery dragon laughed in unison. For the monster clan, things they had aplenty were all kinds of heaven and earth products. Living in the perpetual night forest for thousands of years, the materials that the monster clan's experts had collected were piled up, enough to support both their bodies and weapon quenching. Among the clans, Human Clan was good at using heaven and earth objects. They had various methods to do that. Human alchemists and blacksmiths were all the excellent experts who could use these things fluently. Normally, no human dared to cause grudges against the entire mankind to refine weapons for Monster Clan. That's why, although they had collected abundant materials, they couldn't find a suitable refiner. Sure, Yen dared to hold this precedent, as he didn't care about the anger of the entire humanity. It was more than what Blood-maned and Fiery Dragon wished. Under Fiery Dragon and Blood-mane's guidance, Shi Yan found Blood-mane's treasure, which had been hidden for several thousand years. Looking at the colorful materials filling up the whole spacious cave, the smile on his face widened. All right, you should be prepared. We're going to start now. Blood-maned and Fiery Dragon were so excited that flame sparked from their eyes. Half a month later, somewhere in the cave underground, Blood-maned with a shining gold body roared fiercely and stormed out rumblingly. Light of flame was still glowing on his giant body. He looked like he was molded from melting iron and looked vigorously beautiful. Waves of sharp and imposing aura rippled from the blood mane on his body, heating up the entire space. Blood-maned was moving back and forth. Giant ancient trees on his way were smacked down, turning into wood chips. He was like a bulldozer, crushing the dozen meters tall trees into pieces. Blood-maned was releasing his energy freely, gold waves rippling from him. Blood-maned was like the Grand Master of the Monster Clan, imposingly vigorous and lively with abundant aura. Roar! Blood-maned laughed wildly. He was so excited that he couldn't stop moving through the forest. Gold light bloomed from his body, carrying the metal power of the 5 elements, which could simply break even the hardest defenses. After rolling around for a while, Blood-maned felt satisfied. Smiles filled his eyes as he then moved his giant body back to the cave underground. A silver chain that was around 100 meters long soared up from the cave. This chain was as wide as a human body. Countless complicated patterns meandered on the chain as if they were the blood veins, and a blood aura emitted from it. Fiery Dragon appeared all of a sudden. When he flickered his dragon claw, the silver chain seemed like it was stuck with a flow of fire, burning fiercely. The silver chain flew around as fast as lightning, along with his maneuver. Where it passed through, giant stones were broken into small pieces. This power was really intimidating. Shiryen, I need a good treasure like that. Blood-maned cried dissatisfied. You forged the chain for Fiery Dragon, but you've used a big amount of my materials. You have to make it up for me. Sure, Yen emerged from the cave underground, his face covered in dust. However, his eyes were bright with divine light, dark and profound like the galaxy in the sky. His appearance made people respect and fear him. We need to negotiate. It's for the future of your monster clan. Yen laughed loudly. He strolled towards them, his mood elevated. Chapter 643 King of Perpetual Night Forest. Chapter 643 King of Perpetual Night Forest. For the future of our monster clan. Yen Long didn't understand anything, but he thought Yan's words were shocking. He was bewildered for a while. Our monster clan's doing well. How could it matter to the future of our clan? Times have changed, Yen said with a solemn visage. Today, every clan is thriving. Demon Clan, Dark Clan, Corpse Clan, Dark Spirit Clan, Ghost Mark Clan. They're all the clans from the antiquity. They aren't weaker than you guys. Since the Great Space Fission happened, experts from different clans have received the ancient inheritance. If the monster clan is stagnant, the other clans will dominate you. You'll decline gradually. You guys will become their mounts. The faces of Yenlong and Shuel Lu became grim immediately. This was the most forbidden word the monster clan never wanted to mention. Mount. No matter what era it was, after the monster clan declined, they would become the mounts of the other clans. They would be enslaved and become the others' subordinates. The monster clan's one of the 10 clans. You've had your peak times. I know you used to be so strong. I know the experts of the monster clan, like you two, will never be willing to be enslaved. Sure, Yin calmly talked to them while discreetly observing their expressions. He recognized that these two had taken his words seriously. I want to befriend the monster clan. Besides you two, I can help more members of the monster clan. Yen smiled. In this perpetual night forest, there are many strong monsters, and many of them have intelligence as you do. With my help, they can become like you. They will be much stronger very quickly. What do you think about it? Yen Long and Shuel Lu couldn't conceal that they were moved. Take me to see the strongest one of your monster clan. As long as we can deal with him, it will be the good news to every member of the monster clan in Perpetual Night Forest, Yen tempted them. At this moment, his situation was relatively safe, but in fact, dangers existed everywhere. Demon Clan, Dark Spirit Clan, Goshmark Clan, and the Corpse Clan would come to the Perpetual Night Forest shortly. This forest would become the hot zone of war on this continent. The human clan was also cultivating hard, seeking for the methods to rally themselves. As Shi Yan was a human, and the 7 ancient factions wanted his life, they would come to the forest for him soon. With his current force, he had no significant advantage compared to the other clans or the 7 ancient factions. He could be the sacrifice at any minute. If he could establish a relationship with Monster Clan, it should be good news to him and his people. His people, besides the Yang family and the Chow, included the Ghost Hunter, the Devouring Gold Silkworm, and the King of Demonic Insects. They were all members of the Monster Clan. Sure, Yen knew this clan was imposing. Moreover, they didn't have many wild schemes. Once he got accepted, he would have tremendous support. You want to see our king of the Perpetual Night Forest. Shui Lu was hesitant. Then he became a little bit annoyed. He doesn't want to meet us, though. Different from the other experts of the Monster Clan, he's too arrogant. He hasn't gathered any force under his regime. He has cultivated alone. We went to greet him, but he ignored us. Take me to him. Shi Yan was deliberate. I believe he will meet me. Yan Long and Shui Lu exchanged looks. They considered his proposal for a long while. Later on, they nodded. He stays near the Ice and Fire secret domain in the Black Pool. It's the prohibited area of our Monster Clan. When Human Clan got into the Ice and Fire secret domain, they didn't dare to trespass that place, said Yan Long. Let's go, Shi Yan smiled and urged. Yan Long and Shui Lu were reluctant. But under his persistence, they couldn't help but take him to that place. 3 days later, Shi Yan and the 2 warriors of the Monster Clan reached a pond where black smog was lingering above its surface. A bizarre black froth popped everywhere. This pond was large, more than 100 miles squared. No foliage could be seen around the pond. Shi Yan couldn't sense even a single life fluctuation of any insect. After Yan Long and Shui Lu had taken him here, they looked at the black pool and said, "He's there, staying in the bottom of the pool. Usually he won't appear. This is a prohibited area. No humans or beasts dare to put their foot here. Yan Long changed his expression before he could finish. He pointed towards the pool, his face as if he had seen a ghost. Someone's there. Oh, someone doesn't care about life to trespass the black pool. As they had arrived at this place, Shi Yan felt the black pool was really strange. Nothing was floating above the pond. Even if someone could fly above the pool, he would be dragged into the pool by some unknown force. Any creatures entering the black pool, no matter it was a human or a beast, it would never reappear. It seemed something invisible and intimidating was staying in the bottom of the black pool, which could swallow both the body and the soul of any creature, making them stay forever under the pool. However, a mild young girl was staying in the middle of the pool. She was riding some creature, taking in the black smog above the black pool. She seemed to be cultivating some secret technique. Shi Yan was startled. He gathered his mind and observed carefully. Next, he cried in fear, his face odd. Yan Long and Shui Lu didn't dare to speak. They stood dully by the black pool, as though they were waiting for something. In the center of the pool, the girl opened her mouth and took in the black smog above the pool. Flows of magical, pure energy got into her mouth, increasing her aura. Her flesh body was accumulating the tremendous energy from the pool. She was Zuo. Sure, Yen felt his brain convulse. He thought the scene he was watching was unbelievable. At this moment, he was puzzled, didn't know what to say. Why was she here? Sure, Yen suddenly remembered that since he had come to the Perpetual Night Forest, he had never seen Zuo. But he had met Zuo, Su, Qi Shao, and the other warriors of the Zuo family in the Yang family shelter. However, he didn't notice Zuo. As he tried digging in further, he felt something wrong. The young girl was riding a creature which was sinking into the pool. Her face was serious, as though she was cultivating something. She didn't realize that someone was watching her. The peak of Sky Realm. Shi Yan observed for a while, and he got more surprised. He felt that his brain wasn't working well enough. He wore a forced smile. Zhuo Shi had reached the peak of Sky Realm. She was just a step from the spirit realm. It had been years. He didn't know what kind of good chances this little girl had encountered. She seemed to have transformed and had progressed fast. Apparently she wasn't bad. What was going on? As he was looking at Zhuo Shi, he found that the creature she was riding had suddenly started to move. Until he could recognize its movement, the distance between them was shortened rapidly. Shortly, Zhuo Shi appeared in front of him. Zhuo Shi hadn't realized anything yet. She was still closing her eyes and cultivating. She gently frowned, which made her look cute. However, Yanlong and Xuelu were frightened. They had transformed into their human shape. At this moment, they crouched down, slightly looking up to Zhuo Shi with a respectful expression. They were looking at the creature Zhuo Shi was riding, to be exact. "Master Xianming," Yanlong and Xuelu cried, using the language of the monster clan to greet the other. Their voices even trembled. Sure, Yan knew the king of the perpetual night forest's name was Xianming. He was an imposing expert of the monster clan who had reached the peak of level 9. He could enter level 10 at any moment. During 10,000 years, this terrifying monster named Xianming would only show himself when the monster clan in the perpetual night forest had a big mess that they couldn't clean up themselves. He showed up to reconfirm the existence of the strong forces of the monster clan and maintain the order. Xianming of the perpetual night forest was the king of the monster clan in the eyes of the warriors in the divine great land. He was the grand master who ruled the beasts everywhere, the scariest existence. Even the strong human forces like Pure Land didn't dare to provoke the beasts in the perpetual night forest. It was because of Xianming, the almighty of the monster clan. "You two idiots, why are you here?" An old voice arose from under Zhuo Shi. He was using the monster language too. Shi Yan had been together with the king of demonic insects and the devouring gold silkworm for many years, so it wasn't a problem for him to understand monster language. He could even hear and understand each word. Zhuo Shi was still cultivating, but when the voice arose, she woke up. Her eyes were as bright as stars in the sky. She rolled her eyes, then covered her mouth in surprise. "Hey, why are you here?" Afterward, Zhuo Shi got excited and stood up from the pool. Her slender legs moved, then jumped to the land, walking toward Shi Yan. "Shouldn't you be in the endless sea?" asked the girl curiously. Shi Yan's face was odd. He looked at the girl for a while and then forced a smile. "Well, I do want to know why you are here. Old Xianming brought me here. He said that he wants to help me increase my realm. This old man had captured me not long after I arrived in the perpetual night forest." Zhuo Shi frowned, then put her hands on her waist, rolling her eyes at the thin, small old man who was slowly emerging from the pool. She pointed at him and mumbled, "That's him. Sure, Yan Gij. Help me to teach him a lesson. I can't help it anymore. He doesn't let me go." The old man wore a pure black robe. His head looked like a snake head, paired with gloomy brown eyes. Turtle shells covered his face, which made him look more like a stupid, decayed stone. Shi Yan forced a smile. First, he bent his body to greet the old man, then talked to Zhuo Shi. "I can't teach him. He will teach me instead. Anyway, why are you here?" "Little Shi's cultivating the black tortoise true star. She has my clan bloodline in her body. What's wrong with staying here?" The old man's eyes rolled around. His face grew longer as he dropped his jaw. "Little Shi has brought me the inheritance of my clan from the ancient time. It's natural that I should take care of her. Kid, You are a human, but you dare to trespass my black pool. Aren't you afraid that I will swallow you? You are Xianming. Sure, Yan was astounded for a while. All of a sudden, he shouted, You are from the Black Tortoise tribe. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.